my life around. Sweetest days I found with you. Through the years of I love the life and I'm so glad I stayed right here with you through the years. Yun lang. Nag-practice si Cora Richard ng ang haba-haba ng English. Richard, nag-practice.
Ma'am, ilan po kayong present, including po yung mga naka-work from home?
17.
Okay, next. Thank you po. Okay, next is the ESP. Ready na po ba, Ma'am Michelle?
Andi, nag-left mo. Itami din ni Ma'am.
Agtanda kayo, Ma'am, one or two lines of your favorite love song. Then after nung song, sasabihin po kung ilan yung present. Hindi po yung mga naka-work from home. Ito po ngayon.
Through the years.
Si kanya, di ba? 1, 2, 3, go.
Ilan po kayo, Ma'am?
4 out of 6. Nakalid po yung isa, si Ma'am Elaine.
Okay. Ma'am, pwedeng paki-send sa ating chat box kung ilan kayo kasi hindi po malinaw yung dating sinabi nyo. Next is the science department. Four out of 6, ma'am. Science po.
Science. Go.
Ay, nalawag sa'yo.
Science. Hindi pa po ba ready ang science? So kung hindi pa po, unahin po muna natin yung ating mga non-teaching kasi I think ready na po sila. Okay, let's hear it from the non-teaching department po.
Okay, ma'am.
Good.
Ng pitching. Even if the sun refused to shine, even if problems
students. Thank you for that excellent, wonderful, fantastic, super.
18 out of
Ilan po ang out of 88 naman. Okay. Okay, so I think prepared na po ang ating PBL dahil nakikita ko sumasayaw na si Sir Abe. Okay, let's create the TBL and PLE department. TBL pala, sorry po, TBL. Ay, tapos na po ba ang PLE? Ay, tapos na daw po ang PLE. Sorry. Balikan muna natin ang ating science department. Science department po. Department. Out of 17. 17, ma'am. Okay, I guess hindi pa po prepare yung ating science department. So, unahin po muna natin yung PBL. PBL po. PBL including po the senior high school teachers. Hindi.
So, senior high school department.
Okay, senior high school department. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Knock, knock! Nothing's gonna change my love for you. Papagulog naman, how much magkano?
Ilan po ang mga senior high school na present po ngayon?
Present.
over 27.
Next po tayo, TBL department po.
Science.
Science.
Okay, let's hear it from the TBL department.
One, two, three, four.
One more time.
Okay, thank you po. Present sa mga TBL. Ilan po kayong present, sir?
All present, ma'am.
6. 6 over 6. Okay, last but not the least, the science department. Science po.
Ayun na dyan science. Ni Regimel, ako. Sundatan eh.
Hello po sa mga ating mga ka-science po. Okay, balikan na lang po natin sila or paki-chat na lang po sa ating chat box kung ilan po ang present sa ating mga ka-science. So, thank you for your active participation and sharing to us your singing talent. Everyone. Thank you. Hindi ko na sinabi kung ilan mo pa.
Ayan, talagang uminom sila ng gatas at Milo. Halatang walang energy gap ang mga teachers natin. Ready para sa session natin ngayong araw. And next po, for our food for thought, ibabahagi naman ni Ginang Leticia VC Liban, Master Teacher 1, Social Studies Department.
Food for thought. Okay, amazing morning, mga kaguro. Okay, so what are the top 3 most important investments in life? Ano kaya ang mga ito, mga kaguro? Tatlo lang po ang mga importanteng investments sa buhay. Okay? So, number 1 is, number 1 investments sa buhay natin ay love. Love that you shared with your loved one. Ayan. Ang sarap mabuhay kapag na-in-love tayo. Diba? Valentine's today. Say, I love you. Say, I love you sa katabi. Okay.
I love you, pare.
Love that you do in what you do. Ayan. Kung ano mga ginagawa natin, kailangan mahalin natin ang ating ginagawa as teachers. Love makes the world go round. Ika nga. We should love ourselves also para amazing tayo every day. Diba, mga kaguro? Okay. And then we have to love our work. Bilang teacher, mga guro, kailangan ma-love trabaho because it's our profession and they say that teaching is a vocation. And then love other people as God loves said. Another, whatever you do to the least of my brother, you have done it unto me. So if you have a lot of blessings, share them to other people. That is love. Sharing is caring. Okay? And we have number 2 investment sa buhay natin ay time. Napaka-importante ang time. Panahon. There's a saying that goes, time is gold. So, kailangan pahalagahin. Time you spend on your personal and professional growth and goals. Like this inset natin, we have to focus. We have to give quality time to our professional growth because we learn learn new things, we learn more advanced education. We spend also to our personal needs. Ano yung mga pangangailangan natin? Okay? Time you choose peace. Never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Kailangan may time tayo sa ating pamilya, may dekalidad na panahon sa ating mga pamilya because we love our family so much. Time sa ating trabaho, time sa ibang tao, and of course, most importantly, we give time to God. Okay? And then the third one is health. Ayan, napaka-importante ang health. Kalusugan natin mga kaguro. Kailangan malusog tayong lahat para happy tayong lahat. And then in this health is wealth. Kailangan healthy ang relasyon natin sa ating pamilya. Walang awayan, walang drama, walang walang inggitan. Dito rin sa ating school, sa workplace natin, kailangan natin ating pakikipag-ugnayan sa ating mga kapwa guro. We have also healthy body. Ayan, napaka-importante yan. Healthy body and mindset. Kailangan healthy yung ating pag-iisip, healthy ang ating mga katawan para makapagsilbi tayo sa ating mga mag-aaral, sa ating mga pamilya, at sa ibang tao. And then we have also, kailangan healthy rin ang ating spiritual life. Always keep in touch with God because everything comes from God. So let us value love, let us value time, and let us value our health para ma-enjoy natin ang ating buhay, mga kaguro. Remember, life is short. Live life to the fullest. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Ayan. So, love, time, and health. Dapat yan ang lagi nating unahin para magkaroon tayo ng masayang buhay. Okay? Credits po natin sa Peso Ipon Tips. Okay, next naman po, sa recap, ibabahagi ni Ginang Cheryl R. Balut, Teacher 3, Social Studies Department. Ha?
Hey, great morning po sa ating lahat. So, ako po ang in charge para po sa recap natin for the sa nakaraang Inset training po natin kahapon. Wala, bakit nawala? Nawala yung iba, sir? Sir, nawala? Hindi yung isa.
Ay.
Wala naman. Sandali lang. Nawala yung slide dito sa taas.
Sige, exit mo lang. Page 20. Yeah.
Okay, so ang Inset training natin nakarang araw ay pinangunahan ni Ma'am Maylani Garcia bilang ang facilitator natin. Kasama ang MAPE Department na kumatawan sa MOL natin kahapon. Sinimulan ito ng pag-awit ng pambansang awit at panalangin. Pinangunahan naman ni Melanie Alcantara ang pag-check ng attendance sa bawat departamento sa pamagitan ng Sing-It. Nasinundan naman ng food for thought na ibinahagi ni Sir Mel Gartembar. Naging kasigla naman tayo sa isinagawang energizer ni Ma'am Winnie Dangan at nagbalik tanaw sa nakaraang unang sesyon na ibinahagi naman ni Ma'am Darwina Castillo. Anong nangyari? Sis
Yun
Mel.
lang siguro.
Ibinahagi naman ni Ma'am Jasmine Trinidad ang mahalagang kaalaman sa paggamit ng makabagong teknolohiya sa pag-assess ng mga mag-aaral sa online platform na pinamagatang Current Trends in Constructing Assessment via Facebook. Sa puntong ito, ipinakita rin niya kung ano ang mga advantages at advantages ng pag-construct ng assessment gamit ang Facebook group. Nalaman din natin ang kahalagan ng paggamit ng mga online platforms, lalong-lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemic. At kung paano natin ma-reach out ang ating mga estudyante sa kabila ng mga nararanasan natin ngayon na pandemya. Sumunod na tagapagsalita ay si Ma'am Eleanor Merlin. Binahagi niya ang kanyang paksa patungkol sa social content guidelines. Na sinundan naman ni Madam Leticia Liban na nagbahagi tungkol sa pag-craft ng Teachers Develop Learning Resources. Pinaalala sa atin na maging sensitibo tayo sa paggamit ng mga salita o images, lalong-lalo na sa pagkuha natin ng mga information sa mga Google or any media platform sa paggawa ng TDLRS upang hindi tayo lalabag sa guidelines patungkol sa social content. Sa hapon, nagbigay ng ilang paalala ang ating butihing prinsipal patungkol sa mahalagang gawain sa seminar at ang pagbisita ng ating mga division supervisors. Sinundan naman ito ni Ma'am Rizalyn S. Ibel sa kanyang topic na pinamagatang Bridging the Gap Between Virtual and Face-to-Face Interaction in Blended Learning Environment through Practical Educational Apps. Sa bahaging ito, binigyang mahalaga kung paano natin maibigay o mai-cater ang mga pangangailangan ng ating mga learners kahit na tayo ay nasa gitna ng pandemic. Sinundan naman ito ni Ma'am Karen Ansi Gregorio na ipinakita ang paggamit ng iba't ibang application na maaari nating magamit sa pagtuturo. At ito ay ang Padlet at ang Canva. Nagbahagi naman si Ma'am Desiree Rose Rodrigo patungkol sa habits of high effective 21st century teachers in the new normal. Sa bahaging ito, binigyang diin kung paano tayo magiging adaptive sa mga pagbabago sa ating educational system sa mga panahon natin ngayon. Nagbigay din ng paalala patungkol sa mga gawain natin ngayong araw ang ating mahal na assistant principal na si Ma'am Celia Admin. Natapos ang sesyon sa isang panalangin na isinagawa naman ni Sir Joven Job Pilas-Pilas. Thank you.
Yan, maraming salamat, Ginang Cheryl. Ngayon, nag-stretching muna tayo at ibabahagi naman ni Ginang Roxanne Kate Alabas ang ating pamumukaw sigla ngayong umaga. Ayan, Ma'am Roxanne, tumayo na po tayong lahat. At sundan natin ang video na ipapakita namin sa ating screen. Ayan, kahit di namin nakikita, dapat gumagalaw po tayong lahat at dapat wala tayong energy gap. Ayan, ready na po tayo? Tumayo na po tayong lahat. Ayan, go na. Galaw-galaw po tayong lahat. Ayan.
Pang G-Force Kites!
Ayan, lahat ba ay hiningal? Grabe pang grabe yung performance natin na sinundan. Ayan. Sige, umupo po muna tayong lahat para ayan. Okay, next na po. Mga paalala mula sa IITF ay ibibigay sa atin ni Ginoong Rodel D. Dulnuan, Teacher 1.
COVID-19 is a disease caused by the new coronavirus. Note the symptoms. They include fever, coughing, muscle pain, shortness of breath. What can you do? Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds or use an alcohol-based hand rub. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth with a tissue or flexed elbow. Discard tissues into a closed bin and then wash your hands. Maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between yourself and someone who is ill. Seek medical help if you display symptoms. Wear a mask if you are coughing or sneezing, or if you are caring for someone who is sick. Dispose of your masks into a closed bin and then wash your hands. Check trusted sources regularly for accurate information. Remember, the best prevention is to keep yourself healthy and follow these safe steps.
Ayan, so mga kaguro, panatilihin po natin ang social distancing sa loob ng room kung saan tayo ay magkakasama at kung may sintomas man po tayo ay i-PM lang po natin ang ating nurse. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Kat.
Thank you very much, AP Department, for boosting our mind, body, and soul. To our ever supportive and good-looking school principal, Sir Victor G. Talion, our energetic assistant principal, Ma'am Celia Dun, to our equally talented and gorgeous department heads, staffs, and fellow teachers, whose potentials and competencies are unleashed amidst the pandemic, good morning. To start our Inset proper, we are going to watch an audio-visual presentation on academic eskwela and learning assessment by Sir Samuel R. Sullivan, our Curriculum Chief of the Department of Education Central Office. Ma'am Roxy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Kay Sir Job po.
A blessed day to one and all. We praise God because of this opportunity.
Yes po.
A blessed day to one and all. We praise God because of this opportunity that He allowed us to interact with one another through this virtual meeting as you continue your in-service training. So my warmest regards to all of you. And I hope and pray that you are all safe and sound. Yes, continue to be healthy because that is an important arm, an important tool so that we'll be able to deliver our vision, mission, and core values. So my presentation is still relevant in our effort for continuous improvement. That's why I know that you continue to uphold quality, and because of that, we invest some time, energy, and resources for monitoring, evaluation, research, continual improvement, and innovation. I always call it mercy, so MERCI. And in one way or the other, it's also my way of saying mercy, because this is a French term for thank you. So we do monitoring and evaluation, research, continual improvement, and innovation, because we like to deliver the best services for our learners. So my presentation is entitled Academic Eskwela. This is promoting flexible learning, whom authentic and practical assessment is. So we have heard many times about academic ease, and I hope that you already have one operational interpretation of what we mean by academic ease. So it's not only an academic ease on the part of our learners, but it's an academic ease also on the part of our teachers, our school heads, everyone who is discharging his or her roles and responsibilities in seeing to it that our learners are given the necessary support and services. This presentation is also anchored on an important advocacy, and we call it the Barbecue Leadership Research Initiative. So I prepared some slides so that at least we get to know or even remember or review what the barbecue leadership is all about. And we do this in all of that, not just in compliance, but in our efforts to improve our strategies, okay, in making sure that learning is happening. So, sulong edukalidad. So we continue to fly the kite of basic education. And here is a rundown of my outline. So 4 bullets, and in the 4th bullet, there are other subtopics, but we'll just recall about Brigada Escuela. So take note of the E's there. And then I'll talk about public leadership in Brigada Escuela. And to continue exploring the potential of parents as teachers, as our co-teachers, as our friends and partners to help our children hurdle the challenges of the teaching learning process. So this is the Parents as Teachers Academy result area, particularly on curriculum and learning, where we'll be talking about academic piece. So the first subtopic is from classrooms to class homes. And then let's talk about preferential option to the poor through the education that we provide for the poor mono grade or multi-grade class homes. And then we'll try to explore transactional distance theory in class home learning. And I'm sure that you know this, but we'll just review, okay, on how we are going to interpret the academic East policy. We'll not go through the details of the academic East policy, but we'll just out the most important parts which we need to further digest, because it is there where we talk about the interdisciplinary integration in class homes. Then later we'll dwell on learning assessment, okay, that is authentic and practical. And to just share with you, okay, a simple outreach, okay, outreach activity, this we call it You Are Okay. So this is USB at radyo para sa offline karunungan. And then we'll try to revisit, okay, the learner's portfolio. Okay, so are you ready? So medyo naparami ako nito. So it took me a while to organize my slides, thinking that this is just an opportunity for me again to share with you. Maybe you already met this before, and it's just an opportunity, as I've said, to be interacting with you. Okay, so here it goes. Siyempre sikat yung Brigada Escuela, diba? And in the traditional Brigada Escuela, okay, we go to the school and then do some repairs. But in this one advocacy, Brigada Escuela is magtutulungan tayo para pag-isipan kung ano nga ba yung mga dapat pa nating gawin. Magtulungan. Okay? Hindi lamang sa loob ng paaralan kasi nasa pamayanan tayo. Mga learners natin nasa kanilang mga tahanan. Kaya yung academic eskwela natin is anchored doon sa kasabihan din na if mothers know best at home, of course the fathers do, then we trust, we believe that teachers know best in school. Our teachers know best what have to be done in the home-based learning. So instead of just saying bayanihan para sa paaralan, ito ay isang bayanihan para sa tahanan. So, mula sa salitang bayanihan, diba, dami-dami natin mga salita na pwedeng masabi, katulad ng bayan, bayani, okay? Ani, anihan. Ayun. So, kaya napakahalaga na i-connect natin ito. Hindi lamang lang sa paaralan, kundi yung partnership ng paaralan at tahanan, lalong-lalo na ng mga learners natin, ay nasa kanilang mga tahanan. Pero syempre, isalang-alang na rin natin kasi magdadalawang taon na, papasok na tayo sa ikatlong taon ng pandemya at kailangan yakapin na natin yung tinatawag natin na new normal. Naging matatag, laging kinoconsider natin yung ating kalusugan, hindi lang ng physical, kundi yung kalusugan ng pag-iisip. Okay? At yung tinatawag natin na growth mindset, maging resilient. So paano nga ba maging resilient, lalong-lalo na kung nakikita natin na marami tayong mga learners na hirap na hirap. Marami tayong mga magulang na daming hamon na hirap. Pero sana patuloy na maging matibay tayo, okay, para sa kanila. Kaya napakahalaga din later on na magkaroon kayo ng mga debriefing, okay, mag-unwind din kayo, do some exercises, you do mindfulness activities. Kasi ito yung mga pamamaraan din natin para mapangalagaan natin ang ating kalusugan. Okay? Kasi napakahalaga na maging malusog tayo. Hindi pwedeng we do our duties and responsibilities at the expense of our health. So kailangan isabay natin ang pag-aalaga sa ating mga sarili. Okay? And because of that, we continue to believe that in this framework, we have the learners at the center. May pandemya man o wala. Okay, so kailangan ipagpatuloy natin ang buhay, nakasama yung mga ating profesyon, kasama yung ating misyon, kasama ang ating pamilya, at lagi nating isaalang-alang na still in a teaching learning process, the learners at the center, and marami na tayong mga napatunayan kung paano ibigay ang dekalidad na edukasyon. Bagamat there are still some doubts, perhaps, okay, in what we feel and what we think that we are doing to deliver the kind of education that our learners deserve. But keep trusting, okay, that we need to hurdle these challenges. Sabi nga natin, kung may COVID or other calamities, other health emergencies, maging resilient tayo. And sabi nga, we live with it, meaning kailangan we have to be very careful at all times. Let's take good care of our situations at all times. And that can happen by considering also this barbecue leadership. So being and becoming true quality leadership. Amid the pandemic, differentiated instruction is at its best dahil ang mga learners natin nasa kanilang mga tahanan. Talagang kitang-kita natin yung mga pagkakaiba-iba ng mga bawat tahanan. So pagkakaiba-iba ng mga sitwasyon ng ating mga mag-aaral. So being learner-centered, okay, barbecue leaders must have mapped and profiled all learners. Yan. So, ulitin ko ulit yung madalas kong sinasabi na pag sinabi natin all learners, so we mean the advanced, the least, the lost, and the last, okay, across household in terms of the socioeconomic status. So, madalas kasi alam natin naman lahat na kapag higahos sa buhay ang mga magulang, mas malaki yung challenge sa kanila. That's why importante na isipin natin itong DEI principles, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Isahin na rin natin yung tinatawag natin na fairness. Okay, so kasi in addressing equity, aside from being inclusive, okay, we have to be very fair, okay, in dealing with our learners. So this is a big step in all learning delivery efforts. Alam natin na maraming gumugulo sa ating isip, pero gawan natin ng paraan, okay, para mas systematic, mas logical, mas orderly. Okay, kaya nandito yung barbecue leadership kasi parang tugtog lang yan. Okay, so pag may paraan para i-systematize yung mga ginagawa natin. Okay, so kaya pag puno yung isip, that is mind is full. Pero kung sinasabi natin na malusog ang pag-iisip, okay, that is mindful. So, meron pong pagkakaiba. Kaya kailangan handa tayo na tuhugin yung mga bagay na ginagawa natin para sabihin natin na ito ay para sa school-based management. Okay? So, alam naman natin lahat kung ano school-based management, although mamaya ay papasadahan natin muli ito. That's why in the barbecue leadership, okay, yung pagtuhog natin is the SBM, the school-based management. I'm sure that you are all familiar with this. Okay? There are 4 pillars, there are 4 principles, and we may call them the 4 key result areas. Yung natawag natin na KRA1 is the leadership and governance. Then we have the KRA2, curriculum and learning. Then KRA3, accountability and continuous improvement. Then we have KRA4, the management of resources. Anything that is happening in your school, that is happening in your classroom, that is happening in the community, that is happening in the classroom, okay? As you continue to visit our learners, don't forget na ituhog-tuhog natin ang mga yan dito. Kaya yung barbecue leadership, ito yung aming advocacy ni Sir Orly Manuel. Pinag-aralan namin ito kung paano tuhugin. Okay? And right now, dahil 2018 itong barbecue leadership, ang ginawa naman namin ngayon is i-connect ito sa barbecue leadership in the new normal. Kaya pag-usapan din yung basic education learning continuity plan, which is, I'm sure, you are very knowledgeable and skillful, and you have been implementing it well. Okay? And this is an important policy in the new normal, the DepEd Order 12 series of 2020. And in the KRA1 leadership and governance, natin dito ang kapakanan ng mga guro, ang mga school heads, ang mga non-teaching staff, helping each other on how to strategize, how to be innovative, given the situation. Okay, and dito naman sa KRA2, of course, you are all familiar with the school calendar, the most essential learning competencies, the learning resources, and the policies on assessing learning or the computation of grades. Plus, pag KRA3 na, we are talking about monitoring and evaluation. Siyempre, pag sinabi nating monitoring, kung ano yung mga data, whether quantitative or qualitative, na nag-gather ninyo along the process. Okay? So you study the data and come up with the say an interpretation and make actions out of those interpretation. And then sa KRA4 naman, the management of resources, siyempre, madalas na sinasabi nating resources, we talk about financial, okay? And we say na kulang yung MOE, so kaya kailangan makipag-ugnayan para magkaroon ng special education fund. And I'm sure that you have navigated many strategies to be able to improve your resources. But aside from financial resources, you also have your physical resources. So ang physical resources na lang ngayon, hindi na pinag-usapan lang yung kung ano yung nakikita sa loob ng paaralan. Kasi nga pandemya, di ba? Okay? So, pero marami na kayong ding resources na naibahagi sa bawat tahanan. Siyempre, pag sinabi nating resources na physical, well, you may have some sort of an inventory kung ano yung mga naibigay na ng mga physical resources sa mga mag-aaral. Pero let's also continue exploring other resources like yun nga, yung time nyo na pumunta sa kanila, yung time ninyo na nakipagkwentuhan sa mga magulang nila, tinulungan yung mga magulang nila ng ating mga learners. That's part of the resources. Okay? So, and then, siyempre, yung alternative work arrangement, dahil nga we like everyone to be very safe and secured and sound. Okay, and of course, as you can see here, we factor in here our Philippine professional standards for school heads and the Philippine professional standards for teachers. So, kung natin kakalimutan yung mga yun, because they are our standards, and since these are our standards, then we abide by these standards. And with the barbecue leadership framework in the new normal, there is that powerful body that can help us deliver, okay, education for our learners. Ito yung sinasabi ko na Parents as Teachers Academy. So parang ano siya, parang pagpapasin ito, para teachers, okay? Para Teachers Academy. But what we like to advocate here is that parents are also empowered, okay, to help their children be able to know, do, understand, and perform. Okay, because after all, it is here where we can further define the partnership of the school teachers and the parents as teachers. In this slide, as you can see here, there was this an activity, or say a webinar, or say an online meeting, an online recognition, where our secretary lauded, okay, our partners in their Parents Academy initiatives. Here, I was able to capture, okay, one Parent Academy initiative from the Cordillera Administrative Region. So just for benchmarking purposes, it said here, parents are vital partners in education. So parents influence their children's attitudes at learning and support learning at home. They are a vital link between home and school. And when they become involved in the life of the school, they make our schools better places to learn, grow, and thrive. So the objectives of this parent academy are educate parents to access valuable resources to effectively support their children. Number two, empower parents to pursue lifelong learning goals for themselves and their children. Number three, engage parents to become full partners in their child's education. And number four, encourage parents to sustain their child's growth and well-being. So the question is, how will you start your Parents as Teachers Academy? Siyempre, pwede kayo mag-umpisa yan through your Parents Teachers Association at yung mga naging karanasan na ninyo with them, okay, sa mga modules, kung paano suportahan ang kanilang mga anak habang nagmo-module sila. So you can come up with a concept of your own in your respective school. You can come up with something, an innovative way of gathering your parents, okay, so that you will be able to update them, okay, about the performance of their children, how to improve their performance, how parents will grasp our curriculum, our learning delivery modalities, and our learning assessment. So, para sa akin, ang dami ding mga naibigay na kagalingan yung pandemya. Okay. Well, of course, kailangan lang talaga maingat tayo. Pero naipakita pa rin natin na ang pagiging malikhain natin. Siyempre, madalas natin sinasabi na kulang ng pera. Totoo naman. Kaya lang, huwag tayong masyadong nagfo-focus na doon kasi ang daming mga bagay na hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na pera lang ang pwedeng makasolve noon. And I'm sure that you know what I mean. So here is one feedback. Sabi niya, thank you for this Parents Academy. Yung brainchild niyo po na division office. With this, we could be equipped as effective learning facilitators. And we congratulate you for this effort and we will fully support this endeavor. Ayan. So, I'm sure nakapag-conceptualize niyo yung sarili ninyong academy. Okay? So, aralin. Parang sa ganon ay mas magiging systematic yung pagtulong natin sa mga learners. So yung nakikita nyo dito, this is para, so take note of the yellow one. So para teachers. Kasi siyempre pag sila leadership, at napansin naman ninyo siguro yung Parents as Teachers Academy, nakapahagi na siya dito sa KRA 1. So, every time that we think or we talk about barbecue leadership, so tuhog yan, okay? Tuhog yan, and then we factor in the Parents as Teachers Academy. Having said that, okay, babalikan ko yung tayo ng mga teachers, tayo ng mga school heads, yung kalusugan, okay, ng ating physical na pangangatawan at kalusugan ng ating pag-iisip, kalusugan ng ating pagkapwa, okay? Malaking bahagi po din sila sa tinatawag natin na mindfulness. So itong barbecue leadership na tinutugtog na yan promotes mindfulness. So mindfulness here, okay, is the cultivation of of focus, clarity, creativity, and compassion in the service of others. So, papasok natin dito yung Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Yung ating okay sa DepEd. So, don't forget na ang okay sa DepEd or Oplan kalusugan is also about the school-based feeding program. Okay? Yung water in schools, yung ating wash, okay? Yung water in schools, sanitation and health, and then mental health. Napakahalaga ng mental health. Kaya yung mindfulness dito, okay, para bang sinasabi ng mindfulness, we can connect this to being prayerfulness, we can connect this with meditation, but let us take a look at mindfulness, not specific, okay, to any religion or to whatever, but it's a state of mind where we like to when the mind is so full that we need to calm the mind, and we talk about mindfulness. Okay. Sa SBM, di ba? So, siyempre pag sinabi ng SBM, school-based management. But in relation to mindfulness, we can also that with that smile, breathe, and be mindful. Okay? So, siyempre, pag mayroon ka pang kakayanan ng umiti, ngiti. And then have the conviction na nangumiti. Well, there are times that we are so down. So sabi nga natin, we have to respect also na at times you are lonely, at times you are bothered, at times you are restless. But please, okay, huwag tayong mawawalan ng katinuan sa pag-iisip. Kasi kayamanan natin na meron tayong malusog na pag-iisip, malusog na pangangatawan. Okay, and that is the objective also of the barbecue leadership, para focus, clear ang direction natin. Nagiging malikhain pa rin tayo. And yung puso natin, yung dedication natin ay nandoon. Okay, so nagiging compassionate tayo, nagiging flexible tayo. Kung medyo nahihirapan kang ngumiti, ang gawin mo, ipikit ang iyong mga mata. Okay, tapos mag-wonder yung iyong isip at hanapin yung sitwasyon na ikaw ay masayang-masaya kasama ang iyong pamilya, kasama ang iyong katrabaho. Then, meron kang naaalala na gano'n, siyempre, yun ay magiging dahilan para ikaw ay umiti. Tapos, siyempre, you also practice some sort of breathing exercises. Okay? So, yung bang maupo ka ng maayos or tumayo ka ng maayos, tapos mag-inhale ka through your inhale through the nose, like ganun. Tapos i-exhale mo siya through the nostrils pa rin. And then through the breathe in through the nose, and pag bumuga ka, pero you can do that kind of exercise para pag-release ng tension. Pwede mong sabayan ng galaw ng mga kamay, stretching, pwede yung gano'n. Diba? So, and then, habang ginagawa mo yan, focus lang. Okay? Focus ka lang so, sa smile, focus ka. Then sa pag-breathe, focus ka. Sa pag-stretch, focus ka. Okay? So, big sabihin, nakafocus ka doon sa ginagawa. You can also do mindfulness kapag ikaw ay nasa labas, kunwari, malakas yung hangin. So, pwede kang pumunta sa isang lugar, then relax ka, then enjoy yung hangin. Hangin lang. Okay? Yung how do you call that? Yung dampi ng hangin sa katawan mo, ramdamin mo. Okay? And then, malakas man yung hangin or mas medyo mahina lang yung hangin. Basta focus ka lang doon sa nararamdaman mo doon sa pagyapos ng hangin sa iyo. That's part of the mindfulness. Okay? Sa pagkain, for example, pag kumakain ka, nandun yung magana, nandun yung nakikipag-usap ka, pero there are times also na when you practice mindfulness, yung bang kahit ano yung ulam, di ba? Basta i-enjoy yung moment, okay? I-enjoy yung lasa ng kanin, i-enjoy yung lasa ng ulam. It's okay na mapait, for example, something like that. Okay? So, and then, basta nakafocus, yung hindi nagwawander yung isip. Kahit ka sa paliligo, di ba? So, pag nililigo ka, then, wag kung saan lumilipad yung isip. Kundi pag naligo ka, enjoy mo yung bawat buhos ng tubig na malamig sa katawan. I-enjoy lang. I-enjoy tayo. So, that's part of the mindfulness. Siguro it takes time din to practice mindfulness, pero essentially ganyan. So, pwede din ninyong ibahagi ito, SBM, smile, breathe, mindful, sa inyong mga magulang. Pwede rin at sabihin ninyo na i-practice din ito sa kanilang mga anak. Diba? In addition to what we call mga prayers natin. Siyempre, we respect tayo yung kanilang mga religious preference and affiliation, and that we respect. Pero ang point ko dito is subukan niyo i-connect ang mindfulness and prayerfulness. And aside from that, di ba? So, mangungulit din ako dito. So, sa Galaw, Pilipinas. Ito ay kalalabas lamang na policy, DepEd Order 60 Series of 2021. We call it Galaw Pilipinas, the DepEd National Calisthenics Exercise Program. So meron tayong this is a policy. So sana nasubukan din ninyo patugtugin, okay? And then nasubukan din ninyo mag-exercise, and then try natin every day. Yun ang magiging parang routine natin. Mga 4 minutes lang naman, di ba? So you can replay that, okay? And then do some movements. And I'm sure na in addition to mindfulness, prayerfulness, then ito physical activity, I'm sure na siguro mas lalo tayong naganahan, lalo tayong mai-inspire. Okay? So looking forward na you will perform Galaw Pilipinas. Ganun din sa akin, reminder also na kailangan i-perform ko din yung Galaw Pilipinas. So, yun. Napakahalaga kasi yung mga ganung klase ng conditioning bago tayo pumasok sa mga alam naman natin, ang daming mga tinatawag policies, okay? In the form of policies, DepEd orders, DepEd memo, mga batas. Pero ito, I'm sure na sa mga dati ng nakakahalubilo ko, ito yung aking advocacy, yung K-12 home. So para siyang isang tahanan, bahay. Tapos ito ay merong pundasyon na core values, then haligi, the vision, mission. Okay? Then yung hagdan, na K-12, tapos merong kang pintuan. Ito yung mga doors, the door of opportunities. Okay? Sa kolehiyo, trabaho, and negosyo. Tapos siyempre, ang bahay, meron siyang roof, Okay? At ang roof na ito ay mukha siyang triangle. So, triangle CIA. C for curriculum, okay? I for instruction, and A for assessment. I'm sure na bilang mga principal, bilang mga guro, alam ninyo na ang pag sinabi natin curriculum, ito ay yung sa most essential learning competencies, yung curriculum guides, content standards, performance standards, and the learning competencies. Ang tawag din dito ay the intended curriculum. Yung I naman si instruction. So, ayun, meron akong acronym dyan which is model. So, modular and online distance education and learning as model. So, implemented curriculum yan. So, nandyan yung mga iba't ibang klase ng learning delivery modalities. Okay? So, pwedeng purely modular, purely online, blended, hybrid model, something like that. Okay? And then yung sa third is the assessment. So, assess curriculum. So, pag-uusapan natin mamaya kung paano. So, this is K-12 at a glance. So, pwedeng before the pandemics or during the pandemic and even after the pandemic. Kasi, alam ko na marami na tayong naipon, okay, na mga innovative strategies or practices, okay, in helping our learners. Okay, so siguro yun yung mga mahalagang leksyon na pwede nating gamitin. So lahat ng mga ito ay under yung sa KRA2 ng barbecue leadership, which is curriculum and learning. Although nabanggit ko dito yung sa plant and animal raising, pero bibigyan ko ng dinaw mamaya. Okay? Mamaya in the succeeding slides. Okay? So ito yon. So siyempre, ngayon may tinatawag na tayong mga alert levels. So alert level 1, alert level 2, alert level 3, alert level 4, alert level 5. So yun na yung ano. So parang kung bagyo sana, meron tayo signal number 1, signal number 2, signal number 3. Kaya kailangan maging ready tayo. Like for example, pag sinabing may signal. So signal 1, signal 2. So alam na natin agad na susunod ng klase na ito kapag signal 1, signal 2, signal 3. Something like that. Diba? So, and di ba may tinatawag din tayo ng mga localized na typhoons na ang local government unit, sila yung may kakayanan na mag-declare. Pero kung pag sinabing signal 1, signal 2 na bagyo, meron naman tayong policy ng DepEd na pag nag-signal number 3 na, kailangan sa K-12 ay walang pasok. Something like that, di ba? Ngayon, we are now being conditioned to sabi, because we are now about to transition from the limited face-to-face, okay, to the expanded face-to-face. So, ang sinasabi, dito for example sa inyo, siguro wala pa tayong limited face-to-face, pero pinag-aaralan na natin yung limited face-to-face. So, kailangan maging handa tayo. So, alam na natin kung ano ibig sabihin ng alert level 1, kung ano yung mga dapat gawin, alert level 2, ano yung mga dapat gawin, alert level 3, alert level 4, alert level 5. So, by the time na nag-limited face-to-face na kayo, alam ninyo kung ano yung mga dapat na gawin. So, pag sinabi natin kasing right now kasi, since November 2021, meron tayong pilot implementation of limited F2F. And napansinin natin na from November 2021 until now, paiba-iba yung risk levels. Pero, nagiging strategic na rin tayo. Okay? So, meaning to say, kapag naka-alert level 3, katulad ngayon, naka-alert level 3, so walang face-to-face. Okay, so yun yung so pag nag-declare ang isang lugar na alert level 3, walang face-to-face. Kapag alert level 2, alert level 1, doon ang merong limited face-to-face. So limited dahil nga nung una mga 100 schools lang ang pwedeng mag-offer ng limited face-to-face. Okay, 80 sa public, 100 public schools tapos 20 na private schools. At ang mag-offer lang ng limited face-to-face ay yung K-3 at saka senior high school. Pero meron ng plano na i-expand. Okay? I-expand meaning more than 120 schools and at the same time, all key stages na. K-3, 4-6, 7-10, saka 11-12. Kaya mahalaga na kabisado natin mga alert levels because it is there also where we employ different hybrid learning. So pag sinabi natin hybrid learning, sabi ng UNESCO, a learning approach that combines both remote/distance learning and in-person learning to improve student experience and ensure learning continuity. So this is also blended learning. So dati, ang pinag-usapan natin dito ay ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, MGCQ. So wala na ngayon. Ganun na terminologies. So ang meron na lang ngayon ay alert level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So pag na-master natin yon, I'm sure na mas nagiging ready tayo to embrace limited face-to-face and even expanded face-to-face. Okay? So, and then there's this emerging concept of high-flex learning. It's still blended, pero ang flexibility nito ay on the part of yung mga learners who can be autonomous or independent learners. Okay, so kaya mahalaga din na tayo ng mga schools, kaya nating identify kung sino yung mga learners, kung ano yung mga tahanan, okay, na pwede nating i-declare na autonomous sila. Meaning, kayang nila. So, magbigay ka lang ng konting guidance, alam na nila yung gagawin nila at matututo yung mga bata. So, high-flex learning is still promoting blended learning, okay? But looking at the capabilities of learners to learn alone, to learn by themselves, okay? And in doing so, parang konting support lang ng magulang sa kanila, kaya na nila. Konting ayuda, konting tulong ng teacher sa parents, sa bata, kaya nila. That is the essence of high-flex learning. And I like to believe na ang pwede mag-high-flex learning ay yung mga nasa siguro grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. Kasi nga, di ba, syempre, nasa edad naman na sila like 15, 16, and 17. So madali na silang pagsabihan kung ano ang gagawin natin sa kanila. So, importante yung usapin ng rights and responsibilities. Okay, mga karapatan at ang kanilang mga gampanin o responsibilidad. So napakahalaga din na i-consider natin sa mga usapin ng high-flex learning. Okay? And here, I borrowed this from one presentation of the central office. Ito naman yung operational framework. Once na nag-limited F2F na kayo, ito yung higing parang guidance natin. Okay, so it's a shared responsibility between DepEd and DOH. So ang mag-uugnayan na lang dito is DepEd, DOH, and of course the local government unit. Kasi napakahalaga yung usapin ng safe operations, and then syempre teaching and learning. So alam natin kung anong ibig sabihin ito. And then yung including the most marginalized, ibig sabihin, yung sinasabi natin na inclusion and fairness. There should be equity. And then yung pangalagaan natin ang well-being ng bawat isa at ng mga learners natin. Okay? So, having shared all of those as inputs, let's now revisit yung mga ginagawa natin for the last months na meron tayong pandemya. Kasi maalala natin, nag-start yung ating pandemic noong March 2020. So ano na ngayon, malapit na tayo sa March 2022. So essentially, 2 years na. At so ibig sabihin, nasa second school year na tayo. But remember na nung April 2020, yun yung parang yung batch natin na doon, naranasan na nila yung pandemya. In fact, wala tayong masyadong moving up and graduation ceremonies na face-to-face because of the pandemic. So halos virtual. So nag-uumpisa pa lang tayo. No? Okay? So yung batch 2020 affected by pandemic, batch 2021 affected by pandemic, and syempre ngayon nasa school year 2021-2022 tayo. So yung batch 2022 ng ating graduates, yun parang pangatlong batch na natin ito. So having all of these experiences, okay, napapaisip tayo, natututo ba yung mga bata? So in the next slides, we'll try to explore. Okay? So, kaya sabi ko nga dito sa slide nito, from classroom to classroom. So ito yung school natin, tapos ito yung class home, okay, and then ito yung class home din. So I'm sure that you can differentiate these two class homes. So in terms of socioeconomic status. Ayan. So dito yung learner natin. So tingnan ninyo. Okay, so well, nag-iisa lang siya, maybe yung nanay o tatay or yung ate or kuya niya nandiyan lang sa paligid niya. Pero ano message dito? Diba? So, ang daming modules. Okay? So, itong bata na ito is nasa classroom, nasa bahay. Okay? Although, nakikita natin na yung mga learners natin, kung minsan meron silang mesa sa labas, doon na sila naggagandun at nag-aaral. Okay? So, are our learners learning? So, yun yung tanong ngayon. So, sagot is yes or no. Sige nga, sagutin ninyo. Kung ikaw yung school head, are our learners learning? Pwede nyo i-type yan sa ating chat box, or pwede nyo i-send yung sagot mo dito sa question na ito, or sa aking cellphone number o sa aking messenger. O anong sagot nyo dito? Okay. So, ang cellphone number ko 0917-1244-986. So, are our learners learning? Yes or no? And why? Okay? Kasi siyempre, pag sinagot nyo ang yes, ano yung sagot? Bakit? Pag sinagot ninyo na yung no, bakit? Siyempre, ang sagot niyan, depende kung ikaw yung school head, ikaw yung teacher by learning area, kung ikaw yung parent or guardian. Magandang pagnilayan ito. Diba? So, sa lahat ng mga naging efforts po natin, can we say na natututo yung mga bata? Okay? So, I pose that question. Sana meron kayong nabubukong mga sagot. Okay? And we know that the learning from home now looks like this. Diba? There's a school with classrooms. Kasi nga, diba? So iniisip natin, so ang ginagawa natin, ito yung school, tapos we invite our parents, we give the modules, something like that. So yun yung mga nagiging nest. These are the routines that we have so far established in our effort to provide quality education via learning from home. Okay? And another, so this learner, look at him, look at her. Kung babae sana siya, di ba? Okay. How many modules ang kailangan niyang bunuin in a quarter. Have you tracked you counted the number of SLMs na binibigay na yan? No? Na kung minsan, pag nakita ng bata, parang paisip ka na lang na parang naawa ka rin sa bata, di ba? Eh, sa dami ng mga modules na kanyang pasahin, kanyang sagutan. And mamaya, pag-usapan natin kung paano natin matutulungan yung mga learners natin. Okay? Para sa ganun, ang pagkatuto still enjoyable kasama ang mga modules nila. Okay? So, this is just a question. Ay, mapapaisip ka. Dahil ng mga subjects ng mga bata, the whole day, tapos modules yan. Okay? Siyempre, iba-iba yung dynamics naman sa loob ng tahanan. Kaya, paano natin matutulungan yung ating mga learners in their classrooms. So, kung ang sagot niyo sa question na are our learners learning ay yes, kailangan meron kami pakitang ebidensya. Diba? So, kailangan evidence-based, kailangan data-driven, and as much as possible, research-based. Okay? So, when the grades, the report cards are released, tapos sabihin natin na, pasado. Okay, pasado. So, galing. Okay, so our learners are learning. Of course, that is one important means of verification. Okay, na pwede natin sabihin na natututo yung bata, wala siyang bagsak. Pero, pag-isipan natin mabuti. Yung strategy na ginamit natin. Okay? So, baka lang meron pa tayong pwedeng makita doon kung paano natin lalong ma-improve. Kasi nga, pag K-3, importante ang early literacy and early language literacy and numeracy. So, bantayan po natin yun. So, magaling na bang magpasa, magaling na bang magkwenta. Sana, yun ang mga tinitingnan natin. Okay? And because we are dealing with a community of class homes, yun nga, yung sinasabi ko na parents as teachers academy. So, we need to further and with this, nakikita din natin na ang class home, pwede siyang monograde. Meaning to say, merong isang bata na nag-aaral. Okay? Kasi may mga tahanan yan. May mga pamilya na isa lang yung nag-aaral. Diba? So, bilang eskwelahan, meron ba kayong record ng mga monograde households? Okay, na-inventory nyo ba sila doon? Naisali nyo ba yun? Parte ba yun ng inyong basic education learning continuity plan assessment? Kung monograde ito, monograde class home, kaya nyo bang i-determine na ang monograde class home na ito ay mayaman, mahirap, mayaman, mahirap. So, meron ba kayong ganoon na klase ng datos bilang eskwelahan? Okay? So, bilang eskwelahan muna kasi kailangan per household ang understanding natin. Per classroom, per family ang understanding natin. So, di ba? So, yan. So, meron kang monograde rich. Tingnan mo naman, nag-iisa sa anak, meron siya mga ganyan na gamit. Tapos dito naman sa isa, monograde poor. Okay, nag-iisa siyang anak, pero mahirap siya. At nakikita mo naman yung sitwasyon, di ba? So, sana you have a way to profile households. Okay, and then label as monograde rich, monograde poor, something like that. Pag ginawa ninyo ito, lalo nating makikita na yung mission natin is not a one size fits all thing. O ito din. Diba? So, tingnan ninyo. Dito, monograde, sorry, that should be multigrade pala. Okay, so sorry for that. So, hindi siya monograde rich, kundi multigrade rich siya dapat. Tapos yung kabila, multigrade poor. Tingnan nyo naman, no? Ang dami nila. So, ibig sabihin, iba't ibang grades yan ng mga bata. Pero may kaya. Sa kabila naman, dami nilang anak. Multigrade yan, iba-ibang grades. So, meron din yung tanong ko. So, meron kayong inventaryo? Meron ba kayong record? Meron ba kayong counts ng household, ng family na pwedeng sabihin niyo na multigrade rich households or multigrade poor households? Yun yung kagandahan ng profiling. Profile natin sila. Okay? If you've been doing that, and then that's great. Okay? But ang pinupoint ko din dito is kung elementary ka, syempre ang tendency mo is yung mga households mo lang sa elementary. Pero sana it can expand. Kasi nga may mga kapatid naman sila, for example, na nasa grade 7, nasa grade 8, nasa grade 11, nasa grade 12. Kailangan makita na rin yun ng buong-buo para lalo ninyong makikita na hindi pala monograde ito kasi may dalawa siyang kapatid sa high school. So, 1 plus 2, 3. So, magiging multigrade siya. Alam nyo, pag na-profile natin ng ganoon, mas magaling tayo sa strategizing. Kasi itong mga sinasabi ko, mga kinikwento ko, parte ito ng parang parte na ito ng SWOT analysis. So, ano yung strengths nyo, ano yung mga weaknesses nyo, ano yung mga opportunities na meron, at ano yung mga threats na meron. Para tayo nag-SWOT analysis dito. Okay? At sana na-profile. Ulitin ko kasi pag elementary school ka, so ang tendency mo is yung mga bata lang na nasa elementary. Pero ang pinupunto ko dito is households ang bilangan. So ilang household ang monograde rich, monograde poor, multi-grade rich, and multi-grade poor. So yun muna kasi kailangan mong bilangin. And then pag nabilang mo na sino-sino sila, dapat na ito, kailangan na yun. Kasi ang tendency kasi natin na ngayon is naka-class record pa rin tayo na by subject, ano yung mga pangatan. Wala namang masama doon, wala namang problema doon. Pero kailangan mag-transcend tayo. Tingnan natin ngayon yung kasi nga sabi ko nga this is a community classrooms. So dahil community siya, hindi disaggregate natin siya na maayos. Diba? So this is now the profiling the monograde or multigrade classroom. So ilan ang multigrade rich, ilan ang monograde rich, ilan ang multigrade poor, ilan ang monograde. Pag nagawa po natin, kasi yan, alam ko na mas magiging magaling tayo sa pag-determine ng appropriate strategy, okay, para lalong matuto yung mga bata. Okay? So, again, are our learners learning? Hopefully, yes. Pero siguro may konting leaning tayo sa mga may kaya. Matututo kasi may kaya sila. Okay? But not much for the poor, most especially the poor multigrade classrooms. Well, you may disagree, but medyo may pattern kasi. And therefore, the more nawawiden yung gap between itong mga learners natin na may kaya, mga learners natin. And amid the pandemic, we recognize yung sinasabi natin na learning losses. So the challenge is how do we recover? How do we recover from the learning losses? Kaya moving on forward, ngayon at inset natin, nakapag-reflect na tayo sa first quarter, second quarter ng school year 2021-2022. Ang dami na nating naranasan ng school year 2021. Okay? So, how do we address learning losses? Paano natin i-convert ito to learning gains? So, there are 3 R's here. Okay, these are suggested. So, you revisit the policies. Ano yung mga depth and order na kailangan nating tingnan? And contextualize. Reflect on the policy implementation efforts. And then recover. Recover para yung learning loss ay maging learning gain. And because of that, there's a need for us to envision better classrooms. So, tingnan nyo naman ito. Okay? Look at this slide. Look at this picture. Okay? So, mga halaman, may mga hayop, at nandyan yung bahay, nandyan yung tahanan. So, maybe yung learner nasa loob, tapos itong nanay na dalawa, yung nanay sa si lola, siguro, nandyan lang, tabi-tabi si tatay. That's a very important learning environment. I'm sure you agree with me. Okay, so, kunwari na profile na, di ba? Monograde, multigrade, rich versus poor, and then nasa envisioning na tayo. Okay? So, as a school head, pwede kang magkaroon na ng ganito. I don't know if you have it already, but this is just a suggestion naman. Profiling our classroom. So, surname, okay, kung sino yung head of the family, like mother, father, or guardian. First name, I'm referring to the high school head, the head of the family muna. Head of the family. Okay? Tapos, i-classify kung ito ay rich or poor. May kaya ba sila? Tapos, determine mo, monograde. Kung monograde siya, anong grade level? So, pwedeng kinder lang, grade 1 lang, grade 2 lang. Ganun. Kapag multigrade naman, how many multigrade learners? So, ilan sila? Kunwari, 4. Kunwari, 4 sila. Okay? And then what grade levels? So, kunwari, grade 1, grade 5, grade 7, and grade 11. Ganun yun. So, bilangan lang muna tayo. Siyempre, pwede mong i-expand yan para maisulat mo na yung mga pangalan ng mga bata. So, sabi ko nga, kung ikaw yung elementary school principal, you do this, pero K-12. In fact, pwede mo idagdag yung college. Para lang magkaroon ka ng better appreciation kung ano yung nasa loob ng classroom na yan, yung tahanan na yan. Pwede mo ring isali actually, yung mga bata na hindi pa nag-aaral. Pwede mong isali yun. Okay? Para lang magkaroon ka ng better grasp kung ano yung sitwasyon doon sa pamilya na yon o sa household na yon. Okay? So from here, how many are monograde rich households? How many are multigrade how many are multigrade rich households? Pwedeng 2, 3, 4. Tapos siyempre depende kung purely LM na multigrade, purely high school na multigrade, pwedeng combi. So pag sinabi kong combi, combination ng LM at saka high school. Sana this is one important profiling activity na pwede natin consider. Para lalo natin nakikita kung sino-sino nga ba yung mga bata na pwedeng dapat natulungan pa. So avoid one size fits all. Okay? So differentiated instructional strategies are needed sa bawat isa. And employ appropriate distance learning delivery modalities. Siyempre, pag multigrade rich, pwede siyang gumamit ng SLM, pwede siyang gumamit ng laptop, ng internet, kasi may kaya eh. Ganun din sa monograde rich. Pero sa multigrade o sa monograde po, siyempre, pwede kayong mag-isip. Pwede natin silang bigyan ng sarili nilang TV, pwede natin silang biyayaan ng laptop, ng cellphone. So, nare-realize natin kung sino yung mga pwede pang buhusan. Okay? Siyempre, kung sino yung mga mas marami, kasi kaya nila. And therefore, the kind of support, okay, kumbaga, ika-calibrate natin. Okay? So, given those kind of profiling. So dito, ang pagtuturo during the pandemics because of distance education is guided by a theory. And we call this the Moore's transactional distance theory. So ang tinitingnan dito is like tatlo: structure, dialogue, and autonomy. Pag structure, ito ay may kinalaman sa ating curriculum, instruction, and assessment. That's the structure. Okay? Okay, yung curriculum, instruction, assessment, SLM, MELCs, nandyan, yung assessment, nandyan. Okay? That is structure. Yung pangalawa naman is dialogue. Pag sinabi ng dialogue, nagkakausap. So, sinong nag-uusap? Siyempre, sa classroom, ang nagkakausap, nanay, saka learner. Okay? Ang nakakausap, si nanay at saka teacher. Well, depende. Kasi kung may internet ka, pwedeng kausapin ni teacher si learner. Or depende din sa alert level. Pag alert level 1, alert level 2, siguro pwede kang mag-home visitation, pwede kang mag-physical, pero observing the protocol. So that's the kind of dialogue. Yung magkausap. Okay? Siyempre, kung nakakausap kayo, nakakaroon ng mas nakakaintindihan, di ba? Pero kung hindi ka nakakausap, medyo, may mga konting, may tinatawag tayong konti-konti mga misunderstanding. Okay. Yung pangatlo is autonomy. Yung sinasabi ko kanina na may mga bata na kayang matuto mag-isa. At we believe na sila ay yung mga nasa grades 10, 11, 12. So yung mga kinder to grade 3, sila yung medyo hindi pa autonomous sa kanilang pagkatuto. So dear friends, importante na tingnan natin yung ating pagbibigay ng dekalidad na edukasyon sa mga learners natin sa pamamagitan ng theory. So, siyempre, given na yung mga modules sa structure. Pag dialogue, kailangan ito yung gawan natin ng paraan. How? Kailangan ng malalimang strategizing. Autonomy, kailangan meron kang paraan para ma-determine mo kung ang learner ay may kayang matuto na nag-iisa. Kailangan ma-differentiate din natin. Okay? Kaya, ito, parang graph yan. So, meron kang x-axis, yan yung dialogue, yung pag-uusap. Dito naman sa y-axis, nandyan yung structure. Okay? Nandyan yung structure. Okay? So, yung curriculum, instruction, assessment, learning modules, something like that. Okay? Ngayon, dito sa mga points, kasi parang graphic yan eh. So, sa mga points yan. So, you have point 1, point 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Tingnan ninyo, right now, in the pandemic, alin ang ginagamit ng almost karamihan ng ating mga learners? Anong ginagamit? Sige nga. Okay, possible sabihin niyo number 11. But not textbook, but instead self-directed independent reading. So ito yung paggamit ng self-learning module. Okay? So, kung focus ka sa 11, tinan mo yung x-axis, nandito siya. So less dialogue. Less dialogue, di ba? So pagpunta ka sa y-axis naman, ito yun, more structured. Okay? So more structured siya. Okay? So, kailangan dahil less ang dialogue, gawa ka ng paraan para lalong magkakaroon ng opportunity na makausap yung bata sa kanilang bahay. Kasi nga, nasa class home sila eh. So, ang sinasabi dito is kung less ang dialogue, gawa tayo ng paraan para ma-improve yung communication. Yun yung point nito. Okay? Kaya ito yung model na sinasabi ko. Modular and online distance educational learning. Okay. So, dito, pinapakita nito yung iba't ibang, how do you call that? Iba't ibang, this is a typology. Tingnan niyo yung column. Technologies. High-tech, low to medium tech, tapos no technology. Yan. So, mamili ka na. So, nasaan yung mga learners mo na mayaman? Nasaan yung mga learners mo na mahirap? So, pinpoint mo siya. So, Kung mayaman, siguro ito with high technology. Kung mahirap, dito, no technology. Kung nasa between, dito, low to medium technology. Okay? Tapos meron ka dialogue, tapos autonomy, structure. So structure, check lahat yan. Kasi nga may structure nga eh. Diba? Nandiyan kasi yung mga modules, mga gano'n. Sa autonomy, tingnan niyo paiba-iba siya. Kung check, ibig sabihin, autonomous yung learner. Kung X, hindi autonomous yung learner. Yun yung parang, ano natin, parang way of classifying our learners. Sa dialogue naman, may iba't ibang klase ng dialogue. So teacher and learner dialogue, learner to learner dialogue, parent, adult, and learner na dialogue. So, kapag high-tech, pwedeng meron ito, teacher-learner dialogue, learner-to-learner dialogue. Okay? Pero syempre, sa parent and learner dialogue, syempre meron din ito. Okay? Pero kapag no technology, makikita mo dito, XXX. So walang teacher-learner dialogue, walang learner-to-learner dialogue. Pero ang meron lang is the parent and learner dialogue. Okay? So, tingnan ninyo itong mga ganitong klase ng typology niya. So, yung check, meron. Yung X, wala. Ngayon, sa ano naman, sa transactional distance, pag sinabi ng L, low is better. So, pag titingnan mo ito, so pag L yan, ibig sabihin, kayang-kaya matuto. Kayang-kayang matuto. L. Kasi nga, high-tech siya eh. So, K to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 to 12. Sundan mo lang yung, how do you call that, exposure sa internet. Okay? Pero yung H, okay, medyo challenging ito. So, kailangan mo ng mga strategies. Yung L, okay pa yan. Okay pa yan. Okay pa yan. Pero pag H, these are challenging yung mga H. Okay? So, dahil challenging, kailangan tayo yung maghahanap ng tulong. Okay? Para sa ganon ay maadresan yung pangangailangan ng mga bata. So pag no technology, tingnan niyo, dami-daming H dito. Okay? Kasi nga, sila yung mga nangangailangan talaga na support. Okay? So from here, you see, yung nilagay ko yan, pag no technology, most of the poor or mono or multi-grade classrooms are here. Okay? So, kailangan talaga tulungan natin yung mga nahihirapan naman. Okay? So, having said that, the more na nakikita natin yung importansya ng planning and strategizing para makapag-deliver tayo ng mas maayos sa ating mga learners. Siyempre, given na meron tayong mga SLMs. Okay? So, parang review lang ito. Ito yung mga parts ng ating mga self-learning modules. So, alam na natin yan. Kabisado na natin yan. Naaralan natin dito. Okay? Then, meron din tayong learning activity sheets. I hope na mas marami ang self-learning modules kaysa learning activity sheets. Okay? And then, ito na yung essence of the academic is policy. So, kung napansin ninyo, yung academic is policy, sabi niya dito, schools may determine activities contain the self-learning modules or learning activity sheets for the first, second, third, or fourth quarter, which may be declared as optional so that learners are enabled to focus only on the most essential activities while allowing the fast learners to perform additional activities. So, ibig pong sabihin nito is sa self-learning modules kasi may mga sobrang makapal. Saka sobrang maraming mga items, sobrang maraming mga activities. Okay? So, may mga learners tayo na, ewan ko, baka nakakaroon na sila ng SLM phobia, di ba? Pero paano natin sila tutulungan? So, by virtue of the academic is policy, ang school must find a way to contextualize this. So, himayin ninyo yung mga activities per learning module, per subject, and then tingnan nyo lang kung ano yung mga appropriate sa mga monograde reach, kung ano yung appropriate sa mga multi-grade reach, kung ano yung appropriate sa monograde 4 at saka sa multigrade. Pwede yun. Pwede yun. Okay, so gawan nyo ng paraan. Okay? Alam ko na you're good at that. Okay? May paraan to do that. So example din dito sa academic is policy. Kung ang pre-test daw or post-test ay mayroong 6 or more items, ang pasagutan nyo lang ay kahit 5 lang. So ibig sabihin, aralin nyo na. Masyado marami ito. So, ito lang. Ito lang pasagot natin. Okay, 5 lang. Okay? Something like that. Sa pre-test and saka sa post-test. And then the second one is the additional enrichment activities in the SLM may be for the fast learner. Maybe. Kasi marami na activities yun. So maybe is when you can still choose. Kaya gumagawa pa rin ba kayo ng mga additional? Given na marami na yung laman ng self-learning modules. Okay, so I advise na sundin na lang ito. Okay? Pero if you have other reasons of doing that, okay lang. Siguro may mas malaki kayong pera for that purpose. Kasi alam ko na magastos din ito. Diba? Okay. Pero pag-isipan nyo mabuti. Kung meron naman ng modules at practically nandun na, strategize na lang. Okay? Pero yung gagawa pa kayo ng mga additional na activity sheets, gagawa pa kayo ng mga marami pang tests and dami naman na dyan. Okay? I-ensure nyo lang na authentic talaga. And practical assessment. Authentic assessment, practical assessment. Okay? I'll tell more about that kind of assessment mamaya. Okay? Ito, pag key stage 1, sabi, for a grade level with one teacher in a section handling all the subjects, like in grade 1, the teacher may consider interdisciplinary integration to moderate the activities to be of this. Yun na nga eh. Such integration will be based on the development of reading and writing skills and numeracy. So, sinasabi nito, kung ikaw ay advisor at hawak mo lahat yung mga subjects, aralin mo na yung mga modules na yun. And then find a way to look at interdisciplinary integration. Okay? Papakita ko yun mamaya kung paano. Pero, syempre, nasa sa iyo yun. Nasa sa inyo yun kung paano nyo gagawin. Okay? Sa key stages 2, 3, 4, sa grades 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 11, 12, ganun din. May sinasabi din siya tungkol sa interdisciplinary integration sa policy na yan. For a grade level with several teachers handling the subject in a section like in grade 7, the teachers may negotiate for interdisciplinary integration to moderate activities to be accomplished across the SLM or class. So grade 7. Tapos iba-iba kayong mga teachers. Okay? So aralin, you come together, lahat ng mga grade 7 teachers in all learning areas. Pag-usapan na ninyo. Okay? Kung paano ninyo gawan ng paraan for interdisciplinary integration. Okay? But as I've said, I'll present mamaya kung ano yung way. Para nang sa ganon ay mas focus siya, saan ba dapat nakatutok pag naggawa tayo ng interdisciplinary integration. Okay? Here is a suggestion for interdisciplinary integration. So making SLM or last learning fun, flexible, and with ease. There are 5 bullets. The first bullet, distribute SLMs with seeds and or dispersals for livelihood and survival. Ayan. Okay, so makakatulong ito sa mga pamilya, lalong na sa mahihirap mga pamilya. Magbibigay ka ng mga buto ng gulay, buto ng any. Okay? Pwedeng kinabangan later pag lumaki sila at namunga. So kailangan mong i-engage ang partners like Department of Agriculture. Pag sinabi natin dispersal, yan. kambing, ganon, di ba? Baboy. This is a suggestion. Second, this will help learners integrate, interface, and interact for socio-emotional wellness. Compare a learner, nandun na classroom, sagot ng sagot sa SLM, basa ng basa. I-compare mo ito kapag ang bata, meron siyang nagtatanim siya, may nalagaan siya, pero ino-connect mo yung module doon sa ginagawa. Okay? So, sabi nga, mothers know best, teachers know best. So, in the interdisciplinary integration, come up with a mechanism to be able to let SLM interact with agri-fishery arts. Okay, that's what I want to emphasize. Okay, agriculture, fisheries, you know. Kasi livelihood dito eh. So, imagine mo, nagmo-module yung bata and then at the same time, parang nakakatulong siya for the daily survival and in addressing the daily grind. Okay? Di ba, imagine mo, sabi ko nga, ikaw ba naman ang makulong dyan at sagot lang ng sagot, basa ng module. Bigyan mo siya ng gawain, activity. That's the lab work. That's the practical work. Okay? And because there's practical work, mas nagiging practical ang assessment, mas nagiging authentic ang assessment. Okay? So that is the SLMs kung plant, and animal raising. So yun. Third bullet, performance task assessment is more evident. And written works too. Kasi pag nagsulat sila, tungkol na doon sa mga karanasan nila. Siyempre, may karanasan sila sa loob ng bahay, i-connect mo sa karanasan nila dito sa pag-aalaga ng halaman at so real-world assessment or authentic assessment or practical assessment is easy. Diba? Then you can consider quarterly visit or a weekly visit for formation via assessment that promotes affirmation. Okay? Pwede ka maging partner sa barangay. Pwedeng ganito ang gawin natin. Bawat household, classroom, multigrade, monograde, gano'n. Bigyan natin sila ng ganito. Okay? I'm sure na makatutulungan mo kami, Kap. Magtulungan tayo. We promote, mag-garden, bawat classroom. Diba? Para yung pagkatuto ng gamit ng self-learning module, i-connect nila doon. And then, syempre, ang barangay, pwede naman magpa-contest. Okay? Magpa-contest, may pinakamagandang garden. Syempre, ang garden, hindi lang naman halaman na pwedeng pang pinakbet. Pwede rin halaman na medicinal. Diba? So, ganon. Ay, nako. If we'll be able to master this kind of interdisciplinary integration, mas magiging. Sabi pala sa spelling ng interdisciplinary dyan. Pakitagdag na lang yung S. Then the last bullet is this also helps promote academic honesty and integrity. Oh, imagine mo, pa nag-evaluate na kayo, household to household. Siyempre, pag household, pag multi-grade household, may kinder, may grade 5, may grade 7. So, siyempre, pag in-evaluate mo na sila, ano na rin yun, by key stage. Siyempre, kung ano yung kinder, ano yung kaya niya, ano. Pag grade 10, yung kaya niya, pag grade 12, baka pwede ko rin consider yun as work immersion. Diba? Pag work immersion. Diba? So, so pag sa work immersion kasi TVL yun eh. So, dahil agri-fishery is one of the strands of TVL, ito yung work immersion. Diba? So, sabi natin, promote academic honesty and integrity. Kitang-kita mo yung mga, o ikaw ba nag-alaga niyan? O ikaw ba ang naglagay ng abono niyan? O ikaw, why did you do that? Diba? So, something like that. So, sabi ko nga, learning will be fun, it's flexible, and with so much ease. And students will be able to tell many things about their agri-fishery innovations, activities. Mas madaling magsalita. Mas madali mong mapagsalita ang isang bata kung naging karanasan niya. Yung kung ginawa niya yon. I'm telling you this, okay? It will be a lot easier, okay? Kapag the suggestion is considered. Okay, so parang this one looks like a framework nito. Okay, so livelihood in the SLM or last based learning. So it's real world tasks kasi reality sa mga ito, diba? Mga halaman, part ng buhay natin yan. Mga animals, part ng buhay natin yan. Okay? Hindi natin yung pagkakaila yan. Do they develop higher order thinking? Yes. Do they develop collaboration? Yes. Okay, so look at this. Okay? Look at the boys. The boy and the girl with their tatay. O, dindinan mo yun. Nag-alaga silang halaman. O, dito din, ayan o. O, meron silang fish pond. Siyempre, may mga ano yan. May mga hito, may mga tilapia. Those are great science laboratory, math laboratory, TLE laboratory. It's the laboratory of life. For science, for English, for Filipino, for Araling Panlipunan, for GMRC and values education. Nandiyan na lahat yan. Diba? So, transparent schema. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung mga kaalaman na nila, kung ano yung mga dati na nilang alam, i-apply nila dyan. Okay? Yung self and peer assessment, self-assessment, ginawa ko. Ako po ang gumawa niyan. Ako po naglagay ng braces ng mga yan. Okay? Para, ako po naglagay ng abono niyan. Ako po yung naglagay ng mga fingerlings niyan. Oo, nakita ko kung paano lumangoy yung mga tilapia. Something like that. And timely, appropriate feedback and then the reflection. Diba? This is 21st century learning after all. So, if these are your modules or learning activity sheets, at ito yung mga pinapagawa mo, mas magiging mas madali para sa kanila. Kasi, nandito na yung written works, nandyan na rin yung performance task. Diba? So, gawin na lang, sabi ko, and you can engage the entire community. You can engage the support of the barangay officials. Officials can have access also to more funds in different government agencies. So, tulong-tulong talaga yan. Diba? Try natin. Okay. For sure. Learners will enjoy that. Okay, so kaya nga di ba yung kantang bahay ko. So if this is the classroom, ito yung tahanan na at ganyan, napapalibutan siya ng mga ang sarap matuto, ang sarap mabuhay, ang sarap sagutan ng self-learning module. Okay, and syempre, mas maaliwalas ang mukha ng mga learners natin. Kasi pag napagod na sila sa module, yan, magdilig lang, magtanggal ng mga okay, magpakain ng aso, magpakain ng baboy. Try natin, di ba? Try natin. Okay? So, this is now one way of looking at that. So, ito yung mga bata. Pero meron silang garden, yan, oh. So, nag-explain yung bata sa akin. Kasi tinatanong ko siya. Okay, tinatanong ko siya, okay? Ayan. Okay. Siyempre, pag tinatanong mo, sumasagot siya gamit ng Filipino. Pwede mo siyang Inglesin. Pwede mo siyang in-mother tongue. Siyempre, Araling Panlipunan is here. Diba? Culture, okay, history, then yung values education, TLE, siyempre, MAPE. Pwede mo i-connect. There's a way. There's a science in it. There's a math in it. Ito lang talaga yan. Diba? Diba, dear teachers? Dear school heads? Tama ba? So by stage, align the melts across SLMs to be responsive to the seasonal vegetables, plants, fruit-bearing trees per quarter. So parang nag-a-assess na ako dyan eh. Formative. Pwede kong isamative yan. Formative. O anak, ano ang pinakamasarap na gulay dyan? Paanong magtanim niyan? Paanong magluto niyan? Paano maghimay niyan? Sasagot yung bata dahil alam niya yan. Daily experience niya yan. Okay? If you like children to talk, if you like children to write, expose them to this kind of a learning experience. Okay? Ganun din dito. Ayan. So, ito yung bahay. Ayan, may mga manok, may mga pato. Ayan. So, merong, yun, may baboy, may baka. So, ganun din. So, may modules sila. So, kailangan nakiki-interact katulad. Okay? So, i-connect yan sa mga learning areas. So, there's an interaction sa modules. So, by key stage, align the MELCs across SLMs to be responsive to livelihood related to animals per quarter. Kasi aabot ka sa pagtitinda na. So, kapag naalagaan mo, imagine yung school year mo ay 10 months. So, pag ganun yung nagiging diskarte natin, I'm sure, lalong uunlad ang buhay ng ating mga kabataan. Lalong-lalo na sa mga multi-grade na poor, I'm sure na magiging mas maaliwalas ang buhay nila. Okay? And as I've said kanina, pwede na i-connect sa work function. Diba? So, and then syempre, kung ayaw naman, kung meron namang kaya na i-provide, syempre pag may TV sila, meron silang internet, lalong napapacilitate. Pero pwede rin natin gumamit USB at radyo. USB at radyo para sa upland karunungan. Pwede kang mag-record ng mga lessons dito at patinig sa kanila. Okay? Tulad ng namin, okay, tulad ng ginagawa namin sa aming outreach. May outreach po ako. And salamat na-involved sa outreach na ito. Tawag ko dito sa outreach project You Are Okay, USB and radyo para sa upland karunungan. Kaya this is You Are Okay. You are okay. Okay? Pag sinabi natin you are okay physically, you are okay mentally, and you are okay academically. With the help of USB and radyo, together with the self-learning modules para sa upland karunungan. So, ganito yung parang framework nito. Okay? So, let's now move on to giving grades. Okay? Mag-grade na tayo. So, syempre, sa SLM, may mga activity dyan. Pwedeng formative, pwedeng summative, katulad nito. Okay? So, pre-test, formative, activity 1, formative, enrichment, summative, application, summative, assessment, summative. Yan. So, ganun. Kukunin mo na sa self-learning module yung formative sa summative. Plus, yung sinasabi ko nga, okay, yung sinasabi ko nga na meron ng mga gardens, yung mga meron na silang mga inalagaan. Connect na natin na doon. Okay? Pag learning activity sheets naman, yan. So, pwede kang may mga learning activity sheets mo, connect mo sa formative, pwede connect mo sa summative, reflection sa summative. Tapos, i-collect mo lahat ng mga yan. Okay? At pansinin mo, magiging ano na yan. Yan yung magiging portfolio. Portfolio is a collection. Okay? So, as I've said, ang self-learning modules, nakakonect na siya doon sa mga garden, mga bata, okay? Classroom garden, halamanan sa tahanan, i-connect yan sa self-learning module, i-connect yan sa formative assessment, summative assessment. Diba? So, para connect natin sa portfolio, kasi ang portfolio is a purposeful collection of student work that exhibits the students' efforts, progress, and achievements in one or more areas over time. So, doon sa mga nabanggit ko, sana you realize the wisdom of that sharing. Okay? So, anong laman ng portfolio content? Siyempre, yung mga sinagot ng mga bata sa sa self-learning module, may sulat-sulat sila doon. Pero you know what? Ang pinakamagandang content na ilalagay ng mga bata sa portfolio nila. Kayang picturean, pwede. Okay? So, katulad nito. So, look at them. Mga learners natin, no? Okay. Okay. So, pwede rin ganyan. Diba? Ang sarap tingnan. Okay? Mga bata na ganyan. No? Diba? This is learning after all. Okay? So, this is learning. Yan. O, yung bata yan, nag-aalaga ng halaman. Tapos, meron pa silang maisan. And then yan, nag-gather ng mushroom. This is lifelong learning. This is learning. Okay? And for sure, lalong mag-enjoy yung mga bata pag ganyan. And then, syempre, ang portfolio, pwede natin siyang i-evaluate using rubrics. So, pwede ito yung rubrics natin. I need not elaborate this after all. Okay? So, having shared all of this, sana may napulot kayo dito at sa pagpasok ng third quarter until fourth quarter, we'll be able to see what interdisciplinary integration is, okay, in relation to self-learning modules and the natural environment and the natural learning environment of our learners. So, tulungan natin yung mga bata. Pagbayanihan tayo, magtulungan tayo. Okay? So, nandiyan yung mga magulang, nandiyan tayo, nandiyan yung barangay, nandiyan yung munisipyo. So, sabi nga natin, lahat tayo ay may responsibilidad sa mga bata. And of course, napakahalaga yung child protection. Yun ang mga bantayan din natin. Okay? Sana walang naaabuso, walang namomolestya ng mga learners natin. Okay? So, institutionalized mechanisms so that learning will happen, not incurring learning losses. Instead, magkaroon tayo ng mga learning gains. Okay? So, thank you very much. Muli, ito ang si Sami. So, live and love. And thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait lang. Yes, ma'am. Hello po. Smile. Okay na po. Breathe. Mindful. Sister Sam, thank you for enlightening us about the academic is and the rest of the is in the policy in the Department of Education. To induce us in unleashing our resiliency, potentials, and competence, let us welcome our LRMGS coordinators in the person of Ma'am Nicole Ann Ilingayu and Ma'am Marjorie S. De La Cruz, our English teachers on the quality assurance process and evaluation for TDLRs along technical specifications and language. A warm round of applause.
Tell me kung audible po yung audio ko or nag-feedback po. So again, good morning, everyone. So we are tasked to share to you the contextualization process of the TDLR. So without further ado, let's proceed to our objectives. So our primary aim is to orient and guide the teachers on the process of contextualizing learning resources. So let's proceed to the steps. So how are we going to do the contextualization process? So for step 1, we need to identify the needs. So this step is also known as the needs analysis. And we must base it on the prescribed K-12 curriculum and make sure it is aligned in our learning competencies. So manggagaling po siya sa result ng mga tests or assessments na ginagawa or kinakandak po natin. So it could come from our NAT results, pwede rin po sa mga summative tests, which is actually the most relevant for us since we are actually having the pandemic. And aside from that, pwede rin pong nakabase siya from other quantitative or qualitative assessment results. And from the least mastered competency, doon na po tayo magka-craft ng ating TDLR. So once you are able to identify the least mastered competency, you are now then ready to seek permission to contextualize your learning resource. So by this, ang una pong gagawin is to craft your letter of intent or proposal to be submitted to our school head. So need po muna yon, and once approved na po ni survey, we will give you the permit to develop. And this permit to develop is also known as Form 14. So ito po siya. After this, will be signed by our school head and our district head. Pag okay na po siya, we are now ready for the second step. And that is now the development of your teacher-developed learning resources. So once na okay na po, you may now start conceptualizing and contextualizing your LRs. So bago nyo po isubmit sa ating Q18, make sure you first accomplish certification of competencies, which is also known as the Form 15, to make sure that the TDLR was drawn from the essential competencies. Then, you will also be asked to accomplish the certification of original work. And this is also known as the Form 20. So once accomplishing all those forms po, you are now ready for the step 3, which is the quality assurance of your TDLRs. So you have to submit your work to our school Q18 through the help of our LRMDS coordinator, Ma'am Marjorie, and then she will hand it down to our school Q18 to work and evaluate your TDLRs using Form 22, which is our evaluation tool. And then kapag nasa Q18 na po natin ito, they will try to revise if there are specific necessary revisions. And then kapag na-identify po nila yung mga improvements, needs for improvements, then the team will return the material to the developer for further enhancement and improvement. Then the developer then edits it for siguro 2 to 3 days or more if hindi po kaya ng time nila. And then they will submit it again to our Q18 for reassessment. And pag okay na po, it will be recommended for pilot testing. So this is the form. Ito po yung itsura ng ating Form 22. The rating will be given and then it will be signed by the name of our, by the evaluator rather. You will also be asked to have the pilot testing tool, which is the Form 17. So based on the result, it will be given to, I should say, this pilot testing tool will be used in the pilot testing of your material to 3 pilot schools. And from the result, it will be gathered by the Q18, our school Q18. They will consolidate it and then try to analyze the result. And kung may need pa po ng revision coming from the result nung pinilot test pa yung material nyo, then it will be returned to the developer for further improvement. Pero kung okay na po siya, it will recommended for quality assurance to the division. We also have the Form 17A. this is all about the summary of findings from the pilot testing. And then, okay, ready na po for submission of recommendations for further review to the division office kapag tapos na po yung process na yun. So this one is now the last phase of the process, and before we submit it to the division office for further review. You will then submit your material to the record section, and then the TDLR directly goes to the CID for evaluation. And it will be endorsed to the LRMS for further quality assurance and for possible acceptance. For instances of non-compliance, you will receive this receipt of endorsement. So kapag natanggap niyo po ito and need pa ng further corrections, please make the necessary corrections and return the material to the CID office within 7 working days. So let's talk about the sample timeline to follow when we contextualize our TDLRs. So again, step 1, yung assessment of needs po. The person responsible here is the writer, and it may take 1 to 2 days. Then, after identifying the least must competence, request for your permission, and then by writing the letter of intent, once approved, okay na po. And it will take you a day to do it. And after receiving the permission, the permit to develop, then, ayan na po, prepare nyo po yung TDLRs nyo. Again, days to 1 month more. After preparing, you are now ready for submission of 3 copies. So let me repeat this one, 3 copies po of your TDLR for quality assurance to the school quality assurance team. So for the submission, is do it for a day and submit it to the LRMDS, school's LRMDS. Then, the school LRMDS coordinators will give it to our quality assurance team, and the QA team will validate and at the same time evaluate your materials in 3 to 5 days or even more due to the responsibilities and other obligations of our QA team. Then pag na-evaluate na po nila, again, it will be returned to the writer for editing and incorporation of the suggestions. So the returning will incur 1 day. And then once you have your TDLRs for editing, you may edit it for 1 to 3 days. And once you are done, then you are now ready to give it back to the QA team for reassessment. Kung okay na po, nakita po nila na nakuha po lahat ng suggestions, nagawa po lahat ng suggestions, it is now ready for the submission to the district QA team. Then, our district QA team will evaluate your material again, and it will take them 3 to 5 days. So after they have evaluated your material, they will then return your TDLR for editing as per result of the district QA team. So the return will take 1 day again para po maibalik sa inyo. And then, you will edit it for 2 to 3 days po. So once done, it is now ready for pilot testing. So it's the district QA team who will arrange and at the same time who will give this to 3 pilot schools, and it may take 2 to 3 days or more depending upon the availability of the school. And then, pag nagawa na po yun, they will consolidate the result and then return the TDLR to the writer to incorporate the findings during the pilot testing and to prepare the final copy. So it takes 1 day. And then, pag ibalik na po sa writer, you are now then to submit final hard copies with a metadata template and soft copy of your TDLR in CD po, okay, so siya to the district QA team. So it may take 2 to 3 days. And for the step po, we'll be having a review of the final copies if ready for submission to the division office. So these are the steps, or these are the process. This is now the process of contextualizing your TDLRs. For now, let's go to the evaluation guidelines to be discussed by Ma'am Marjorie.
Okay na. To our principal, Sir Victor Talion, Ma'am Saliatun, our assistant principal, department heads, and subject group head. To you, fellow teachers, a pleasant morning. My session with you hopes to review the elements of learning resources, particularly po the LAS or the LAS, and to give you an overview on the guidelines for teacher-developed learning resources along technical specifications and language. I am adapting this slide from Ma'am Merly Pan, Master Teacher 2 of Lamon National High School, and at the same time, Division Learning Resource Evaluator during her presentation last November 2021. So what to consider in preparing or crafting our TDLRs? First, we have the learning area color codes. Let us always remember that every time we prepare or craft our TDLRs, we have to consider the prescribed learning area color code that is being prescribed by the BLR or the Bureau of Learning Resources. And take note that we cannot modify this color requirement. Kumbaga po sa MELC, non-negotiable po ito. So we must always adhere to the color requirements. For English, we have cyan or light blue, Filipino dark blue, science orange, green for mathematics, red for araling panlipunan, and for ESP, we have brown. For MAPE, we have, depende po dun sa component po nila. For music and arts, we have canary yellow. For PE and health, light yellow. And of course, for PLE, we have violet. So yun po. Another is the design standards and requirements. So this is for print materials po. We should not forget that the design standards requirements are aligned along the grade level of the learners or the key stages. The key stages has something to do with the recommended font family. For grades 1 to 3, so we have here Century Gothic except for the question mark symbol. How about for grades 4 up to guide? So the standard font family are Arial and Times New Roman. So yan po yung pinakaunang bigay ng Bureau of Learning Resource na guide on print material. Now let us look at the prescribed font size, the text, the heads, and the subhead. So for grades 5 to 12, sa text po we have 11 to 12, sa heads 24 to 15, and the subheads is 13 to 11 point. So yun po. As to art to text ratio, okay, so this refers to how big or how small, also it refers to the size and the quantity of the images that we are going to include in our TDLR. So what is the percentage of the art versus the text in a certain page of the TDLR? So we have here 30% sa art and 70% sa text. Okay. Bakit po kaya parang mas maliit ang percentage ng art sa
grades 5 to 12 than to grade 1, kinder to grade 3. So malalaman po natin yan mamaya. So before we develop our TDLRs, i-review po muna natin ito so that alam na natin how many or how much images or illustrations are we going to include in our material. So that is for the print materials, design standards, and requirements. Okay. So our focus po today is the elements of learning activity sheet. So most po kasi nang isasubmit sa amin sa LR is learning activity sheet. Na focus lang po kami dito ngayon. So these are the prescriptions po na kailangan nating sundin. The only recommended font family is Times New Roman. So kanina po nabanggit ko na sa print material, ang prescribe nila is Arial and Times New Roman. Dito po sa last, isa lang po. Times New Roman lang siya ang gagamitin. Okay. How about po sa font size? Pakita ko pa lang po ito. So, yan. Sa font size po, ito po yung tinatawag natin. Kung nakikita po ba? Ay, hindi gaano. So, anyway po, ayan. Kabisado naman po last, di ba po? Ayan. So, sa subject learning area, ito po yung makikita sa pinakaunang makikita doon sa part ng last. Ito po, halimbawa yan, yung health 9. So, siya po ay size 24 at naka-bold. Okay. Yan lang po ang element ng last na naka-bold na size 24 pa. Okay. And then after po no ating learning area and subject, learning area and grade level, diba? Subject and learning area, yan lang po, after po nun we have is the name grid. So yung name grid po, so yun yung name, yung section, yung ganun po. Mapatanggal nervyos. Okay, so yun po. And then after ng name grid, meron po tayo no type of learning resource, which is learning activity sheet. So yung type of learning resource po, dapat ang size niya is 14 and uppercase, hindi po siya naka-bold. Please take note po, hindi po siya naka-bold. Uppercase lang po pero hindi naka-bold. Then below the learning resource is the title. So anong size po ng title natin? Size po is 14 at hindi rin po siya naka-bold and only the first letter of the important word is capitalized. Okay, tandaan po natin yan. And then, as to art and text ratio, 30% lang po ang art, 70% naman ay, or majority is text. Why? It is because these key stages of learners and grades 7 to 12 po can already comprehend with these key stages of with written text apart from illustrations. Compare po sa kinder to grade 6. But we should not forget na meron pa din pong 30% illustration. So it's good pa rin po that we include illustration and arts in our TDLR kasi nakaka-attract din po ng learners yon, di po ba? Parang handa nga maboring. Kasi kung plain text lang po ang makikita din ng learners sa TDLR natin, somehow nakaka-boring din po. So kailangan din, pero let's see to it na relevant naman po yung mga illustrations or mga images na ilalagay natin sa ating TDLR. Okay. As to page properties, we're only using A4 size of bond paper in portrait. And as to margin, all sides should be given 1 inch. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This time po, pasadahan po natin yung ilan po sa mga common errors na nakikita po ng mga evaluators during the evaluation process. So that later po, if we will develop na our own TDLR, may idea na po tayo sa mga do's and don'ts. First, we have color codes and colors. Yan. Minsan po nakakalimutan ng mga developers yung prescribed color ng learning area nila. At ang ginagamit po nila, depende lang sa kung anong tingin po nila is maganda, which is not supposed to be. So we must adhere to the prescribed learning area color code. Example po, sa amin sa English, ang color code namin is light blue or cyan. Yun lang po. Next. Okay. For font requirement, okay. Failure to change default font in their programs. Ano po ba yan? There were some writers po na medyo nakakalimot at nababiolate nila yung font requirement. Or kung minsan nagsusubscribe naman si developer, si developer sa font requirement, nakakalimutan po niyang ibalik sa Times New Roman. Example po, nag-start siya or the initial paragraph is written in Times New Roman, then si developer, nag-insert po siya ng table or nag-insert siya ng figure, then inside the figure or inside the table, he has to write another group or set of text. The tendency is the text would go back to the default font. Most po yata ng bagong mga laptop ngayon is Calibri. So yun, ang nangyayari po, the tendency is the rest of the paragraph that are written in Times New Roman, and then the text inside the figures or art materials are not written na in Times New Roman, but instead, naka-default font po siya. So i-check po natin yun. Kapag nag-insert tayo ng text, nag-insert tayo ng table, nag-insert tayo ng figure, i-check po natin palagi kung ano po yung font noong text po natin inside those. So dapat po, Times New Roman pa rin po siya. Okay. Next po. Able to modify font. Okay, parang sa panang din po ito. Sa mga evaluators po ito, minsan kasi parang ang simple lang po nito, pero malaking factor sa pag-evaluate po ng mga evaluators. Minsan, nakaka-strain din po kasi ito sa mata ng mga evaluators na yung ibang text nakasubscribe sa font size na 12, pero the rest of the text medyo malaki na or mas maliit na. Na dapat po all throughout the LR or halimbawa ng last natin dapat size 12. Except po sa mga elements na size 14. Even up to the references. So dapat lahat same through with the font po, dapat parang Times New Roman ganun. Dapat dito po size 12 po yung text niya. Next, okay. As to content, ito po yung pinakamabigat kapag nag-evaluate po. Minsan, ito po yung mahirap ipaintindi sa developer. Kung nakuha na nila yung result of evaluation, sasabihin ni evaluator, please align the activities with that of the milk. Example, use passive and active voice meaningfully in varied context. Kung po yun yung milk. Tapos, ibigay si developer na activity at ang ibinigay po niya is, for each of the following, choose the sentence in which the subject and verb agree. Ni hala, active-passive voice yung topic, pero napunta kay subject and verb agreement yung activity ko. So, hindi naka-align sa activity ko kay milk. So, ayun nga po, anong tendency of tangent sa activity ko doon kay milk ko. So, ano rin po ang tendency niyan? Yan. Hindi mo na-target si milk mo. In this case, we cannot blame our learners if mababa po yung score nila sa milk na yan kasi yung ibinigay po natin na activity, hindi naman tina-target si competency. So, dapat tignan po natin yan. Kung minsan pa, ungit-ungit tayo kasi ang baba ng scores nila sa competency na yon, nun pala, nasa atin din ang problema kasi ibang activity naman yung binigay natin sa kanila. Okay. Copy lifted from, okay. Let us not forget that we cannot copy or lift any concept from any other developed or published material. Example po, kumuha kayo ng definition ng computer or kumuha kayo ng definition ng reading comprehension. Saan nyo kinuha? Sa mga learning resources na downloadable o kay Google o kaya books in the library? Definitely po, ang magiging feedback ni LRE dyan or ni Learning Resource Evaluator is you give your own definition. Remember po, kaya po tinawag na teacher-developed learning resources dahil, o kaya tinawag siyang contextualized yung material because the concepts are from you. Well, we're not that smart naman po na may sarili tayong concept. Pero we can refer. Kaya meron po tayong reference, yun po yung gamit ng reference. Ito po minsan pag nag-evaluate kami, nagagalit pa si developer kapag nag-note kami ng put source here. Naglagay na daw kasi siya sa reference. Magkaiba po kasi si source at si reference. Source po, yun yung pinanggalingan. Reference, pinagreferan lang natin if the concept of that particular author is the same with the concept that we are writing in the material para makakuha tayo ng support at hindi lihis ng sinasabi natin. Okay. Usually, ang ginagamitan natin ng source po is mga illustrations, mga images, and as the concept, pwede na lang po natin na i-reword or i-rephrase or so on. Then, ilagay natin kung kanino natin ini-refer yung idea natin. Pag concept po kasi hindi pwede na i-copy natin in toto. Bawal po kasi talaga yon. Bawal po manguha ng hindi sa'yo, tapos aariin mo in the end. Bawal na bawal po yon. Okay, deleted, omitted text elements. Okay, sample po nito is nauna, halimbawa sa last po. Nauna si learning competency kay background, kay background information. Di ba po mali yun? Dapat mauuna si background information bago si learning competency. Okay. Ito pa po yung isa na nakita namin na nag-evaluate kami. Sa last po ba may part ng review? Wala po. So kung wala naman pong part ng review sa last, huwag na po natin ilagay. So kung ano lang po yung prescribed element, yun lang po. Okay. Next, wala pong na-indicate or na sobrang need naman mga precautionary or safety measures. So ngayon po, requirement na sa lahat ng TDLR na may health or safety measures against COVID-19. So ang pinaka-header ay ang pinaka-footer po ng lahat ng TDLR dapat may safety measures against COVID-19. All throughout the pages po. Apart from, kung may mga delikadong concept po sa TDLR natin, dapat may mga warning or precautions din po na nakalagay po sa ating TDLR. Okay? Yan. Sources, references, ito na po. As to text and visuals, we should not copy or lift any concept or illustrations from other published materials. Gaya nga po ng sinabi ko kanina, huwag natin ariin ang hindi sa atin. Yun. Make sure lang po na na-cite po ang source or reference. Kung sakali man na may na-copy or na-lift po tayo from a good reference. Okay. Now po, it is a requirement na if the activity is a task, halimbawa, draw, illustrate, create, or compare and contrast, there must be a scoring rubric. Because how will the teacher score the output of that particular task if wala naman siyang rubric? Ito po. Take note din po na hindi po criteria ang kailangan nating i-prepare, ang kailangan nating ilagay doon sa TDLR natin, hindi po. Meron din naman po, meron din naman po yung iba naglalagay ng rubric. Halimbawa is, ang task po is to draw or illustrate, pero yung rubric niya, ang laman is, the explanation is clear and comprehensive, so hindi po siya useful. Si rubric kasi, the task is to draw or illustrate, yet the rubric prepared is the explanation is clear and comprehensive. So, hindi siya magagamit to score the drawing and illustration po of the learner. Okay. Next, ito na po yung pinaka-crucial sa lahat. Yan. Ang concept of solution. Okay. So, ito po yung pinakamasakit na kailangang totally ibalik kay developer yung TDLR kapag mayroong concept na po siya. Sample po is the the topic is on the subject-verb agreement. Pero the activities naman talks about nouns or elements of short story. So, kailangan na pong ibalik yan kay developer. Okay. Tignan din po natin, baka may mga obsolete information na nakalagay sa i-develop nating materials. Errors in computation, claims which are not proven. Okay. Halimbawa, ang intention mo lang is gumawa ng sentence na may subject-verb agreement na na-observe sa sentence. Example is, Ilocanos are kuripot. Pero ang lesson talaga ni teacher is magamit ng maayos si R. Okay, nagamit naman po ng maayos si R. Pero ang claim niya that Ilocanos are kuripot, parang walang pinagbabasehan po. So dapat po, let's look into that. And of course, factual errors. Okay. Fonts, as to visuals naman po ito. Ito yung mga common lang naman po. Our guideline po kasi is, if an illustration has a front view or mukha, halimbawa yung building or yung room, laging may harap po yan. Animals, mga mukha po ng tao, dapat po nakaharap siya towards the gutter or kahit saan ang location po ng illustration, dapat yung mukha nakatitig kay reader or nakatingin po sa bandang left. So, hindi po nakatingin dapat sa bandang right. Okay. Inconsistency sa drawing. Example, magkatabi si kalabaw at yung pusa. Sample ang lesson is about animals living sa land. Yung drawing niya ng kalabaw at pusa ay magka-size, which is napaka-imposible po in real life. Because even a baby carabao ay mas malaki kesa sa pusa. Dapat po consistent po tayo na kung ano yung nakikita in real life ng mga bata, yun din po yung nasa illustration natin o nasa TDLR natin. At dapat po 30% lang ng bawat page ang percentage ng art. Okay. Not complementary. Okay. Huwag na po tayo maglagay ng illustration kung ang purpose lang natin is makapag-comply po doon sa 70 to 30 ratio. Nag-comply ka nga, pero si illustration naman doesn't actually support the text. So we have to see to it that the illustration that we put in our material could help our learners understand the text, or baka naman yung simple text na yon okay na. Halimbawa yung sentence po na Maria went to town. Iba po ba ng illustration doon? Parang hindi na po. Kasi mga learners natin kaya nang intindihin po yun, di ba po? So dapat po yung visual is nagsusupplement sa text and so with the text. If the text could stand alone, never mind the visuals, and po vice versa. Pero if there's a need po for both to be present in the material, because it will be difficult for the learner to understand the text without the visual, then have them both in the material. Okay, let's look into that po. Another. Yes po, Ma'am Cherry. You're raising your hand po, Ma'am Cherry po. Ma'am Cherry Joy. Okay. Yan. Okay, another visual are not originally crafted. Oh well, that's normal. Not everybody is born with the craft, but we can utilize the expertise of our illustrators or colleagues. or our friends. Like for example, example ko lang po si Ma'am Eunice. Nung gumawa po siya ng storybook niya, pinap po niya si Sir Herminio Pablo na mag-illustrate po doon sa ginawa niya pong storybook or big book. So pwede po natin itap sila. Pero wag lang din po natin kakalimutan na ano po, ilagay ang sa ating TDLR as illustrators. Na-request yun. Pwede ba tayo magbayad ng artist to draw for us? Yes, okay lang po. Pero dapat nga po original talaga yung craft. Pwede po ba mag-download? Hindi na po kasi pwedeng mag-download. Ang pwede lang po, i-illustrate mo or magpa-illustrate ka. Or pwede ba mag-download pero sa LR portal? Pwede po. May images po tayo sa LR portal na pwede natin gamitin. Warning lang po na kapag kinuha mo yung image doon kay LR portal, make sure na gagamitin mo lang siya sa TDLR ni DepEd. At hindi mo siya gagamitin para ibenta po yung material na yun. Okay, so yun po. Okay. Okay. May mga visuals din po na hindi appropriate. Hindi makatotohanan. Okay, yun. Nabanggit ko na po kanina yung sa may kalabaw at sa pusa. Dapat po realistic. Sa visuals din po, wag natin hayaang cluttered or heavily shaded. One-line drawing lang sa mga drawings sa TDLRs or light drawings lang. Basta make sure po na kapag pina-photocopy ay makukuha po exactly yung image. Kaya kung pwede po, black or grayscale na lang. Kasi po halimbawa pag ni-yellow mo yan, tapos pina-photocopy yan, hindi na po makikita. Experience po natin yan, di ba, sa mga last natin kapag nagpo-photocopy natin. Alam ba, dimit makita RG picture rin kasi po may mga yellow na po. Kaya sa department po namin, ang ginagawa namin, piniprint na lang po namin yung material sa black and white. Para kapag ni-reproduce mo natin, at least malinaw pa rin yung picture o yung mga images. Okay. Huwag din po tayong maglagay ng mga images na magpo-cause ng ridiculing or na mockery, na magiging funny na kung saan na-defeat na yung purpose sa halip na matutunan. Halimbawa po is lizard. Ang drawing mo is lizard na parang daga naman o ahas naman. So parang na-defeat mo na yung purpose mo na showing the learners what a lizard is. So ganun po. Okay, as a social content, skip ko na po yung social content because ito po na-discuss na po ni Ma'am Ellen po kahapon at saka ni Ma'am Letty po kahapon. Next. Okay, dito na po tayo sa language. Okay. Ito po complete natin. Okay, pati kami dati. Okay. The use of directions. Take note po, hindi po direction dapat yung directions with is to mean instruction. Okay, another is not clear direction, not specific or misleading. Example po dito yung match column A with column B. Di ba parang ang vague po at misleading ng direction? How will they do it? It could be parang match column A with column B by connecting the dots or writing the letter corresponding to column A. Parang magano na lang po siguro. Kasi pag ang isusulat mo lang, match column A with column B, may mga estudyante tayo na medyo, anong tawag dun? May mga estudyante tayo na pilosopo. Ay, match column A and column B ka na inugid-ugid ang dalatan ang mga timbagana. Di ba? Parang ganun po. Okay. Another is identify the words that take actions. How will they identify? Okay. Kunwari naman po may blank before the number. Sorry. Sabihin po natin, write on the space before the number the words that affix action. So, ganun po. Okay. Subject-verb agreement. Yan. And then, hindi ba wordy? Wala bang ambiguous or vague na instruction? Complete sentences ba? Wala bang mga run-on or fragments? Pag fragment, bakit may period? Ayun, so mga ganun po. And errors in mechanics. Okay. So, doon na po nagtatapos yung presentation po. Ayan. Maraming salamat. Ay, may-share ko nga lang po pala sa mga developers po. Kapag po binalik sa inyo yung TTLR at maraming corrections, huwag kang mainis, be thankful. Bakit kamo? Kasi po kung maraming corrections yan, ibig sabihin, si evaluators, kinutuan na talaga ata TTLR mo. Pero kung iisa lang ay, matakot ka na ipa-evaluate mo ulit kanya na. Ayan. At wag din po tayong kuminsan, medyo natatagalan po kasi pag-evaluate ang trabaho po ng mga evaluators natin, marami din po. And appeal naman po ng mga developers sa mga evaluators, kung pwede pong isingit as mapaaga-aga naman po yung pag-evaluate, yun naman po yung appeal ng mga developers. Parang give and take po ba sa developer at saka kay evaluator. So that ends my presentation. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig.
Again, thank you, Ma'am Nicole and Ma'am Marjo. Let us all watch and listen to an audiovisual presentation specially crafted for us by Dr. Novi S. Nagit, at Teacher 3 of the English Department, and Ma'am Kathleen May Okakal, Teacher 3 of the English Department and Librarian Designate, on intensifying reading interest of learners through virtual tutorials and mentoring.
Good morning po sa ating lahat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My task today is to discuss with you on how to intensify the reading interest of learners through virtual tutorials and mentoring. This PowerPoint presentation po is pre-recorded, and I just would like to use this para naman ma-share ko kung ano yung natutunan ko when I made the module explainer for English 8. Para daw po yata sa Ahebiskaya, pero hindi ko pa sinubmit, kaya hindi nyo pa po nakita, wala po doon. So gusto ko lang pong i-share kung gusto ko lang makita nyo kung paano ko ginawa to. Something like that po. Kasi this is also one way on how to teach our learners po, na bukod sa mag-online class tayo ng live, pwede din po natin gawin itong PowerPoint presentation natin na ito. Okay po, pwede natin i-explain lahat. Sa reading po, especially sa mathematics, kapag may mga formula po na hindi nila maintindihan, you can use this PowerPoint presentation. I use this Microsoft PowerPoint 2019 application po. So, madali lang po siyang gawin. So, kung gusto niyo pong magpaturo sa akin para i-try niyo yon sa mga online classes niyo, I will be of help po. Maganda po gamitin to, especially kapag laging offline bata, wala naman po siyang internet connection or anything. Malaking tulong po ito sa bata. Okay po. So, sabi ko nga, I am here with you today and I am tasked to discuss with you one topic that could help our learners to have their reading interest identified. So, ano nga po ito? Okay. So, i-discuss ko po sa inyo. Also, I'm also going to discuss yung library updates po at saka kung ano yung mga plano ng library, mga target plans po since I was designated as librarian this school year po. So, I hope, sana bago mag-end po ang school year na to, marami po tayong makikitang improvement sa library. Every start of a school year, grade 7 teachers always conduct PhilErie to learners. Para saan ba to? Lagi ko na lang naririnig ang PhilErie. Ito madalas ang sinasabi ng ibang kasama natin sa various departments. Sa Project Reach Me, may PhilErie na naman na sinasabi. Ano ba yun? To those who are unaware about PhilErie, I just would like to give a brief introduction to what PhilErie is so that we can work together for the betterment of our learners' reading comprehension skills. Yun po. Bakit po kailangan kami? Trabaho po ng English department yan. Haha. Yes po. It is part of our job as English teachers na turuan po magbasa at magsulat ang learners. However, we also need your support from you, lalo na po at kada subject ay kailangan din po nila na magbasa at intindihin ang mga tinuturo po natin. So, ano nga po ang PhilErie? The Philippine Informal Reading Inventory Assessment Tool is aimed to be used as a classroom-based assessment tool to measure and describe students' reading performance. Information gathered from the assessment can help classroom teachers design and provide appropriate reading instruction for their students. This diagnostic approach to describing how children read embraces inclusionary principles that emphasize the need for education that is learner-oriented, responsive, and culturally sensitive. At the school level, the information from PhilErie assessment will help school heads plan for appropriate school reading programs or activities for improved student learning outcomes. So ito pong PhilErie, ginagawa natin to identify learners na hindi po masyadong marunong magbasa and para magkaroon po tayo ng intervention on how to teach them, paano natin ihahabol yung reading, yung supposedly na reading level ng grade na meron sila. Actually po ito ay ginagawa dati. Ang PhilErie po is done for, please correct me if I'm wrong, for grade 3 and grade 6. Pero ngayon po, ginagawa na rin po ng grade 7 and grade 8. And last year po, sad to say po, 5.56% of the 747 grade 7 learners completed the PhilErie last school year. Evidently po, hindi natin na-cater lahat ng learners natin because of the pandemic, and we need to strictly follow safety protocols. And frankly speaking po, we are still looking for various means on how to teach our learners to read in the new normal. Kung napansin po natin, new normal students tend to have lower reading and comprehension skills as shown on their scores po sa modules na binibigay natin. So, na-observe naman po natin yung difference ng scores nila noong face-to-face compared po ngayon na modular po ang ating setup. Lalo na po sa module nila ngayon, they tend to skip the essay parts or yung mga parts that needed their own views and opinions. As hindi sumasagot doon, nililive lang po ng ganon. Bakit po? It is because their lack of reading interest and wala na nga po silang comprehension skills kasi nabawasan na po at hindi na po sila masyadong natututukan because of the pandemic. And hindi rin naman po natin sila pwedeng laging kasama, pwedeng laging puntahan. Yun po. So in other subjects, say for example sa math, how will the learners be able to solve the given problem kung di po nila ma-analyze yung sentence doon sa paragraph? Di po ba ganun sa math? Merong mga problems na paragraph, parang ganun, na i-analyze nila, something like that po. And same din po sa other learning areas that needed reading comprehension skills. That is why po, ang PhilErie is napaka-importante to identify and help the learners who have low-level reading skills. So yun po ang gamit ng ating PhilErie. So yun nga po ang gamit ng PhilErie natin, mga kasama. That is why po, as an English teacher and a designated librarian, I already launched a project in response to the call to intensify the advocacy for reading under the Brigada Pagbasa, issued under Regional Memo number 624, Series 2021, and the Brigada Pagbasa Mobile Library of Division Memo 372, Series 2021. Ano nga po ba itong Brigada Pagbasa na ito? It intends to cater to learners who are below 18 years old po. Okay? Including those who are under alternative learning system or yung mga nasa ALS po. It focuses on non-readers and struggling readers from both formal and non-formal education. This project was initiated as an adjunct endeavor to existing reading programs and projects, establishing collaborative and immersive linkage between the academy's library and diverse stakeholders. Marami na po tayong reading programs sa English department. So, idadagdag lang po natin ito para ma-reinforce po lahat ng ating mga reading programs, mga existing reading programs. Last December 2021 po. So ito nga po, we already launched my project Prefis. And it is, which means pragmatic reading for everyone through feasible alternatives and collaboration of education stakeholders. We already launched this and with the help of my colleagues in the English department headed by Madam Nobi Santiago Nagit. And I am very thankful po that they supported me with this endeavor. Ano nga po ang goal ng Project Prefis namin? So, number one, ang goal po namin is to raise mentees' reading aptitude by 80% by the end of the implementing year. Kasi we found out na sobrang baba po talaga ng reading comprehension skills ng ating mga bata. And we all know that reading is a very basic skill po sana ng ating mga anak. Kaya yun po ang isang objective ng project na to. Another is to accumulate reading resources through donations from diverse stakeholders. Ito po is partnership project with stakeholders and benefactors. Ang gagawin po kasi natin dito, I will be looking for benefactors na magdodonate po ng mga books, mga fiction, kahit anong books po that could be useful sa mga bata. And then, ibibigay po natin sa kanila so that they will have references And sa mga mahilig din pong magbasa ng fiction books or kahit ano pong libro na pwede nilang na magiging informative po at makakatulong po sa learning nila, yun po ang hahanapin natin. So, maghahanap po tayo ng resources and then ibibigay po yung doon sa mga bata. Since we all know po na limited lamang po ang resources ng ating library. So, yun po ang ating gagawin. Pangatlo po, ang ating objective is to engage stakeholders in mentoring learning fundamental reading. Ito po, ang gagawin po natin dito is we will be looking for learners and stakeholders who are willing to teach students with low-level reading skills po. So, ang mangyayari is, ang first target po kasi natin, ito po. Ang first target po kasi ng Project Perfis are the junior high school learners of Solano High School residing at Barangay Madyangat, Quezon, Nueva Vizcaya. So dito po muna namin ipinilot itong project na to. Ang mangyayari po kasi dito, we are going to identify yung mga magagaling pong magbasa. Okay, yung mga magagaling pong magbasa na puntahan yung kaklase nila siguro once a week para turuan magbasa yung bata na hindi masyadong marunong. And of course, minding the safety protocols pa din. So we had together with the stakeholders po and barangay council ng Madyangat, we made a memorandum of agreement po, and one of the agreements is to mobilize efficient readers to teach their classmates or their neighbor with low reading and comprehension skills. Along po with the SK chairman, kasi nasabi din po niya sa akin na actually iaangkla po namin, ililink po namin yung project ng barangay sa education po dito sa project ko. So, napakaganda po ng very timely po itong project na to at pinunta po namin siya sa Madyangat kasi meron na pala silang existing project. So, I am looking forward po na mag-materialize lahat ng objectives ng project na ito because ang laki-laking tulong po sa mga estudyante. Imaginin mo po, yung isang trabaho po natin, sana, with the help of the students and the stakeholders po, tuturuan yung mga learners natin na mabasa at umintindi ng binabasa nila. In that way po, mai-increase ang reading aptitude ng mga bata, plus, damay-damay na po yan. Okay? It will have a domino effect. Magkakaroon po tayo ng improvement sa pag-answer nila sa modules nila, maintindihan nila yung mga problems, at kung ano-ano pa po. So, yun po ang pinaka-goal ng Project Perfis natin. Para tulungan po yung mga learners with low reading comprehension skills na maiangat po sila. And hopefully po, by the end of this school year, sana nga po ay tumaas po ang level ng reading aptitude ng mga batang ito. Yun po ang Project Perfis. And another plan po is to dole out used books donated by benefactors, donors, and sponsors to beneficiaries as a motivation boost to ensure optimal development among addresses. So, we will ask po ulit din ng reference books and any other books po that will motivate learners to read. It could also be a fiction book or a general collection. Kasi po, I personally, when I was still a student, I love reading po. Kahit ano po binabasa ko. I actually started with pocket book, yung mga Tagalog po, mga pocket book na ganun. Nag-start ako ng ganun until na-develop ko po yung interest ko sa pagbabasa. So yun po ang gusto kong makita ng bata sa atin, tapos tularan po nila tayo. Kasi doon ko pa natutunan. Si mama ko po, mahilig siyang magbasa ng kung ano-ano. So, na-adapt ko po yun dahil yun ang lagi kong nakikita. Naging curious ako. And so, I developed my interest in reading. And sadly, sa totoong buhay na po ngayon, wala na po akong time magbasa. Actually po, mahilig akong magbasa ng mga makakapal na libro noon. Pero ngayon, dahil busy na tayo and sometimes mas prefer na natin ang manood. Kaya, ganun po. So yun po ang pinaka-goal ng ating project office. And I am hoping po na by the end of the school year, mag-materialize po ito. While Project Preface is being implemented, Sir Vic and I also made another project po in preparation for face-to-face classes because we are all looking forward to getting back to normal soon. There is dirt or pagkukulang po ng library facilities. So to improve the learning environment of learners, we started this project and this is called Project Lifts. Link up in enhancing Athenaeum facilities and services. Athenaeum po is a Latin word na that means a building or room in which books, periodicals, and newspapers are kept for use. In short po, library. Its objectives po are to procure library facilities, enhance library services to all stakeholders in education, and to provide conducive learning environment for the learners. Ito po, we will add library tables and chairs. As of now po, we already procured 11 tables and 50 monoblock chairs. Aayusin na lang po doon sa library. Yun na po yung nakikita natin na nasa gym ngayon. We will also subscribe to different periodicals and magazines, pati po additional reference books like dictionary and encyclopedia kasi po medyo outdated na po ang ating books sa library. It is one of the reasons why our learners before pandemic do not go to the library kasi po wala tayong much available resources. We are hoping po that these projects will intensify our learners' interest in reading and in going on sa library po. Lastly po, what are our future plans or target plans para po ma-improve pa ang library? First is to create repository of quality assured teacher-made learning materials. I would like to ask the LRMDS coordinator to furnish po sana ng copy ng learning materials na downloaded po, plus kami na lang po ang magpreprint. And also po, sa approved materials from our teacher-made learning materials na example po yung last natin, di po ba gumagawa tayo para sa ating mga students and meron tayong pinapa-approve sa LRMDS. Once po na na-approve yun, may we ask a copy na magbigay po kayo ng kopya sa amin para po meron tayong readily available na reference materials or mga learning materials na pwede rin pong hiramin ng ibang subject teachers. Kasi ang napapansin ko po, kung ano lamang po yung mga learning materials na hawak natin, yun lang po ang lagi nating hawak. Why don't we put it in one place po? And then, mag-share po tayo. I-share po natin yung mga activities na ginagawa po natin. For example po, kunwari, si Teacher A, gumawa siya ng activity sa topic na to pero wala kay Teacher B. In that case po, pwede pong hiramin ni Teacher B yung ginawa ni Teacher A and pwede din pong vice versa ang mangyari. So mas maganda po kapag ganito kasi meron tayong sharing of the learning materials we have. And alam ko po na part din po ito ng LRMDS pero gusto ko din pong meron po sanang kopya din ang library. Para po anytime na kailangan natin ng learning materials sa kahit anong subject po, pwede po nating hiramin. So makakatulong po ito sa mga kasama nating teachers. Lahat-lahat po tayo makakatulong po talaga. Ang laki-laki pong tulong. Example na po yung approved na learning material yata ni Madam Melanie Alcantara, yun pong Art is Life niya. O yun po, kapag wala po si MAPE teacher ng grade 9 na ganito, pwede po nating hiramin yung kanyang learning material sa library. And kapag nag-pitch in po tayo sa MAPE, wala si Madam Melay, pwede po nating gamitin yun as their activity. Hindi po yung, kunwari, what if emergency, hindi na natin makontak si Madam, ganun po. E di at least meron po tayong plan B. Yun po sana ang gusto kong mangyari, ang gusto kong i-offer ng library sa ating mga teachers. And I hope po na kapag okay na po ang lahat, isusupport po natin itong target plans na ito. Second po na plano natin is to adapt the part what, which is the Undergraduate Students Research Journal of St. Mary's University. Gusto ko po sana na I would like to ask the research teachers po sa senior high school and sa science teachers po kung may copy po kayo ng investigatory project or action research output po ang ating mga previous learners, please give us a copy po sa library. Iko-consolidate po natin yon, ipapa-hardbound po natin or something like that po. Para po, maglagay po tayo ng repository ng researches done by our learners. In this way po, ma-uphold po ang innovation ng learners natin. This will be a great help to them para hindi lang sa internet nakadepende. I still believe na mas reliable po ang references natin sa libro from any other internet resources. Alam niyo naman po ang mga advantages and disadvantages. Kapag sa internet po nag-research itong si student para sa kanyang research. Yun po. So gusto ko talagang i-adapt kasi malaking tulong po ito at nakatulong din po sa akin noon as a student. Bukod po sa pagpunta sa library, pagbasa ng other mga thesis or mga ganun po. Lastly, gusto kong magkaroon ng systematic flow of library transactions. I observe po kasi that since I came to Solano High School po, parang meron tayong sistema pero hindi nga lang po ganun kaayos yung flow niya. Ang gusto po sana naming mangyari with Sir Richard, because he is our assistant librarian for this school year, gusto naming mag-create ng library card. Number 1, wala pong library card ang mga estudyante. Yun yung unang-una po sana. Tapos, yun po, marami kaming mga plano, marami kaming gustong maging flow ng library na parang gawing library talaga. Na library, yung library natin. I hope you are getting my point po. Dun sa flow in po ng sa paglabas at pagbalik po ng libro, medyo mahirap po ang sistema, wala pong mga masyadong, hindi po matrace talaga kung asan na po yung mga libro. And nahihirapan na po talaga tayo na i-trace yung mga yon, marami nang nasira and everything. So marami pa po kaming plans, and sana for the succeeding years, madahan-dahan po naming maayos ito. Sana po. Kasi pag okay na po, kapag bumalik na po tayo sa face-to-face, hindi lang po akong gustong makakita, pero I know, gusto niyo din po na maging accessible po ang library, na maging useful din po. Yun po ang ating goal sa ngayon. Na sana I am looking forward to a library that is accessible, that could connect learners into different worlds of wisdom, and that could be a safe haven during vacant periods. Opo, sige, pwede niyong ipaalaga yung mga learners natin kapag bakante nila doon sa library. as long as they will keep quiet and magbabasa po. And in that way po, kapag wala silang magawa, nagbabasa lang po sila, hindi po nila napapansin na nag-i-improve na po sila sa reading nila. So, yun po ang gusto kong makitang epekto sa mga succeeding years ng mga planong ito. Anyway po, this ends my session and I hope that this project and plans will be implemented soon. Sana po ma-realize na sooner. This will be realized without you. So I am praying that you will support po kung ano man po ang project ng library. And I will be leaving you with some words from James Bryce to quote, "The worth of a book is to be measured by what you can carry away from it." Hindi ko po na po i-explain yun kasi self-explanatory na po sa atin. I hope yung mga projects po iso-support. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for listening. And keep safe everyone. Sana po ay meron akong na-share sa inyo ngayon. Nagustuhan nyo po kung ano man yung mga plano ng library. And thank you very much po. Have a nice day.
Thank you also, Ma'am Kat. Looking forward din sa realization ng project mo for our school library. And that's all for this morning. Lunch break na po tayo. Pila na doon sa office. Happy lunch, everyone!
Mamaya na lang.